On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, White Day, aka Caldea Boys Collection, is here, and also Ordeal Call 2 is right behind. Plus, we have a few other things in the back half. Hello, I'm one of your hosts. I am Mida Multi-Omega. With me always, New Caloric Lucky.
Sorry about that. We just had a lengthy marathon discussion, and I was talking about a mission. But I hope everyone's enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka a play on words. And while we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for the JP and E versions of the game. So anyone not wanting spoilers should not trust customs with your rare Tsukihime disc.
Yeah. That one's been going around. I think I may have seen that break yesterday. But yes, there's a tweet going around from the original person, but somebody acquired and attempted to import one of the original Tsukihime, beta discs, basically.
3.5 floppy!
Yeah, the big floppy. And, as they do, unfortunately, U.S. Customs, absolutely fucked it up.
The thing that throws me off is, it's a 3.5 floppy. What are they expecting to find hidden inside?
Cocaine? I don't know. Drugs?
That's not gonna be a lot of fucking cocaine!
No, it's like because the person posted a video and the image of all of it. Yeah, there's somebody posted it right here. The grab, it's they removed the bubble and the shrink wrap and just completely took it apart. And it's like, why? I don't get it. And of course, you're not gonna get jack shit feedback about that from Customs right now. But yeah, no, I've seen so many people are just like. Obviously, it is a terrible tragedy, but also it's just actually, Customs absolutely blows chunks. And like I said, I truly do not understand what we're getting at with that.
I can understand, opening up the package and looking at it, but I'm just yeah, a floppy.
It's yeah, no, that's that. I mean, also, I'm pretty sure, depending on what outlet you're going through, but I'm pretty sure those guys have access to the millimeter wave, When you get, you enter the 3D scanning chamber in an airport, that's millimeter wave radar. That'll, image through your clothing and check and see if you've got anything on under and stuff like that. You could just run the floppy through that. The floppy's nothing but hard plastic. If you think it's a CD case, you could just fucking scan it. I don't get it. Yeah, I know, leaving it blank was absolutely some guy was oh, we've completely fucked this up. Oops. Knowing how people are, I'm sure that the internet has already encouraged the recipient of this to push for an investigation and stuff. It's entirely possible that they could ferret something out from this, but generally the way I trend to see this is that nobody wants I can't really say the company because it is the government, but nobody wants the company to be embarrassed. So there's not a lot of wherewithal in this. But yeah, terrible shame. Very rare, very expensive. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the bubble wrap and the cardboard kind of looks like it's bundled together like a like a package of drugs, but it's pretty thin. You'd think you'd just see it's wrapped up in 9 gajillion bubble wrap and unwrap it and just be oh, it's nothing. But yes, now that we have passed on the sad news to you. Let's Talk FGO. Sorry, we got in it was perfect in the intro, but we got in a little bit of a. Is it really a side tangent? Kind of a pre-tangent. Sorry, I took a drink of my water and I had to pause there because I really wanted to combine pre and cul-de-sac and say prol-de-sac, and I'm just that's nothing. That's not anything.
What is that?
That's truly nothing. Yeah, no,
sir.
Technically, we're circling back around, but I'm no, that's truly nothing. Anyway, I'm going to transition away from that and check in with a bit that's tried and true. Let's check in with everybody's favorite Kohai Mash.
Senpai, 起きてください.
Because it's time for Wake the Fuck Up, Senpai, a regular segment for pro tips, and it is the ending of a month. It's the last show of a month. So that means we did actually get advance notice about what March's exchange items will be. So your upcoming exchange tickets in the month of March will be good for Big Bells, Ether Photons, Pages, Bones, and Bullets. All of those sound great. And speaking of the end of the month, I didn't mention it earlier because, like I said, we got involved in the theoretical tangent. this show is brought to you by our wonderful and beautiful listeners, but especially our wonderful and beautiful patrons, some of whom are listening live right now. And if it rolls around to a new month and you'd like to consider both supporting us on Patreon and getting access to some of those benefits, check it out. We'll have more on that later. Yes, bones, bullets, ether photons also is what I'm fucking after. Those are new.
Give me those photons.
They're like, I think, less than a year old at this point. Need a lot of those little boogers. But since we are starting a new event where there's no new servant banner, and none of us are going particularly ham on any of the banners that do exist, for reasons that will become evident, there are no records and no evils. Valentine's has passed to a close. I did obtain all of my new Valentine's. So, we cleared out, and I did pretty good on the ladder. So, we're ready to rock for the next thing. That means that our next segment is, did you finish your master missions? To finish your master missions this week, you need to defeat 3 Earth Attribute Servants, defeat 3 Good Servants, defeat 15 Beast-type enemies, defeat 15 Demonic-type enemies, then obtain 2 Skill Gems or Statues, and then 4 Skill Gems or Statues as drops. So, hey, guess what? There's free quests, so you can do the event. Also, the Earth, Beast, Demonic, all that stuff, super easy to do in, Fuyuki and Orleans. You can fight wolves or werewolves. I believe skeleton guys are demonic-type enemies. So, that means we move into skelograms, much like the bones you can get from your exchange targets. Now, the skelograms themselves are a little lean. Not to say they're not big, exciting news, but they have been telegraphing the biggest news for a little bit. So, first of all, we are in fact in Chaldea Boys Collection 2026, Charlemagne's Chivalrous Montjoy. I assume that's how I pronounce 3 vowels close together. But that started the 25th and ends the 17th. It's basically how we drew it up in the pregame last week. The rank-ups are already out, which is good, I would think, based on the delay. But yes, you can already get access to your Charlemagne and Bradamante rank-ups. We are also running Half AP Bleached Earth for the duration of this, and you do get your Chaldea Boys Collection ticket for just logging in. I've exchanged for my CE already. It is the... Oh, I forget exactly which one it is, but it's Amakusa, Emiya, and... I can't remember the priest's name right now. Kotomine, yes. I forget, like I said, exactly what it's called, but that's the one that jumped out at me, so that's the one I grabbed. Though the Chaldea Detective is pretty good.
That one is the one I'm going to be getting. The Emiya one. It's cool.
I mean, as usual, they all look pretty good, but, you get one free ticket, so you take them. But yeah, the event is ongoing. It seems, pretty straightforward with the time gates. I am actually caught up because doing them is not super hard.
Lucky is the exact opposite. I haven't even started yet.
Oh, interesting. Well, I will have a little first impressions later, but not a lot because the event is as I brought up last week in the pregame, a decent chunk at least of the event so far really is just recapping you on the play Cyrano de Bergerac. The funny twisty stuff seems to be happening in the back half, which we're not at yet. But I've been able to keep up with the event story because they're just time gates. The free quest clears I am not caught up on. But yes, that is Chaldea's Boys Collections. Next, just announced what will be occurring tomorrow. We are getting our next Mana Prism CE. We will get the new CE Chaldea Morning, and that will be the 28th, if you would like a date in order to figure out when that is. So, Chaldea Morning is a Mana Prism CE that gives you 4% bond for... I'm pretty sure the trait is what the wiki calls living human servants. The description on the website says modern human, which I think is how we're translating that. But it says, certain pseudo-servants, demi-servants, of which there's only one demi-servant, so, etc. But it's 4% bond up for them. If you max limit break it, it's 20%. Yay. And it does feature MASH. So that will be releasing soon. And if some of you have your Mana Prisms prepared, you can go right into it. Sorry, scratching my nose.
Damn it!
Careful. He's trying to eat too fast.
Oh, unfortunately, yes. There we go.
You did not get the weird... It's something they showed in the trailers that I think is an actual piece of loot in the game, but in Marathon, apparently there's a shareable, drinkable cheeseburger.
What?
It looks like a double-headed, asthma inhaler, but there's, space food cheeseburger inside. It's weird. I think it's a meme.
Instead of kissing, do you want to share this cheeseburger?
God, that'd be very funny if you could do that easily. But, yes, the big info we've got going on is that they have announced Ordeal Call 2, the inescapable Gehenna id, and they are just straight up telling us it will drop 3/11. And that will be 1 p.m. 3/11. Or 1 a.m., sorry. I'm reading that wrong. So that will be after maintenance. This is all Pacific time. So technically you're going to get, whatchamacallit, you're going to get maintenance on the night of the 10th, and it will go live the morning of the 11th. So, on the wee hours of Wednesday morning, it will be live. In order to participate in id, you will need to have cleared Ordeal Call 1, Zero Compass Inner Domain Paper Moon. And they do warn you that you should, if you don't want to be spoiled about events, do Vengeful Demon's Wail at Prison Tower, which is available in main interlude for Rare Prisms. We have our banners, obviously ongoing already. Those were announced, and so we talked about them last time. Let me double check if there's anything new in the pre-release campaign. Let's see. Log in, interludes, extra rewards, 0 AP, Leyline Stones. No, that all seems the same. So then I think the only new news on the pre-release is that they have also started their social media campaign on Twitter and Facebook. So you can get some sync quartz if you engage with the social media campaign. And once again, I have seen people commenting that JP players have showed up to help us out once again. And people talking in the comments about being very excited to see how the global release thinks, or see what the global server thinks of id. As I remember Ordeal Call 2 being a fairly popular entry, releasing several cool servants, having many fun characters.
Many moments.
Also, honestly, just again, don't know exactly what's going on, but I'm sure it'll be weird and fucked up in some way, similar to kind of like how Ordeal Call 1 went, as kind of doing some weird AU stuff, but the sheer visual energy of, like, Schoolgirl Jolter and stuff like that, and, the characterization of what looks like, Big Da Vinci as mom, little Da Vinci as little sister kind of thing. Like, the anime high school AAU type aesthetics. Yeah, they had a Yoshitsune in there as well, because she is an Avenger. So, like, there's... That was a really, like, popular vibe, so I'm very curious to see how that's all going to play out. But yeah, as I mentioned before, we will have our pregame next week to coincide with that. It does also mean that people were correct, and maybe that's why they went ahead and announced it already. But yeah, 3/11 will be firmly in the start of the third week of White Day. So White Day won't be over if you want to log in and get your exchange ticket, and if you are lagging behind on story. But for those of you listening to our podcast who do not start the event until the third week starts, hey, there's going to be a new story chapter that's going to drop when that happens, so maybe start on the second week? Just saying. But yeah, no, that's going to be a fun one. So, like I said, we'll do our pregame and kind of rundown of the story chapters and how much of a pain in the butt it's going to be. Then, new mats, new servants, etc., break it all down, and keep your eyes peeled for some wanted videos also. But that brings us to the end of the news. Like I said, it's a light news desk type week, as I believe JP is firmly in there. Either we're in the third week of Valentine's, or we're like, Valentine's is almost over, but they haven't said what the next thing will be anyway. So we're just kind of vibing.
But with that, excuse me, it is time for this week's Let's Talk FGL mailbag segment, where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. This week we got five lovely comments, and we'll get through them all. Starting at the top, our first one comes from Monster Girl Aficionado, who says, "Dear Lucky and Omega, no question this week. Just sending good vibes, wah 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 wah, and wishing you well. Keep up the great work. No, thank you very much, my dude."
Not yet telling us to do our PvP letter.
Yet.
Got my eye on you.
Excuse me. Oh, let's see here. This next one comes from spending 1,500 on VTubers Carb is worth it. Howdy, Lucky and Omega. Hope you're having a good week and enjoying the new White Day event. I will, eventually. Question. What is the thing you have spent the most on a hobby in one go, i.e. cardboard crack, TTRPG stuff, etc.? Oh god. In one go? I don't know about in one go. Honestly,
Yeah,
it
single
probably
go,
won't.
nothing too crazy. Like, I've bought some sealed boxes, which, depending on MSRP, can be a little expensive. I've ordered a couple of like, deluxe steelbook editions of video games before. Not, like, the crazy collector's editions, though.
Like, in one go, it's really hard for me to hammer down. Like, if we're talking about spending overall in the hobby in general, then FGO probably takes the case. And I've probably spent the most money in one go on rolling some cursed banner that Lucky just dug in his heels maybe a little too hard. But other than that, like, in one go, I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you.
Yeah, usually I'm a slow but steady kind of guy. Like, I've, backed a couple of TTRPG Kickstarters before, but usually on a small level. Like, for Delta Green, I didn't go all in and get, like, the physical books. I got the PDF package of the Handler and Player's Guide, stuff like that. So, like, not usually a lot. Like, overall, I have spent quite a bit on Cardboard Crack. I've, ordered some singles that were probably more expensive than they needed to be.
Excuse me.
To let everybody know, I spent, like, I'm not sure the exact one because it's been literally, like, 5 or 6 years now, but I spent, like, $40 or $50 on a copy of Red Eye's Dark Dragoon when I really didn't need to. I could have waited a couple of years and it probably would have been cheaper, but that was the price it was at the time. Like, I've bought some singles that were expensive. I've bought some booster boxes that were a little expensive. I technically think, like, if I really wanted to sell some of my more rare pulls, I would probably break even, but yeah, that's about it. Listen, if those of you out there have any, hobby comments you want to make, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, sir, I'm just trying to think of, like, big purchases, and I'm just like, for, like, a hobby specifically, I'm just like, no, don't got it.
Any like, of the physical edition video games you've bought that were like, very big?
No, like, I like getting special editions, but I don't like going too crazy on them. Like, generally, I love me a good steelbook. Give me a good steelbook. I love steelbook. I love a steelbook. But usually, like, things other than, like, a steelbook, like, really doesn't attach me. Like, when they do figurines or stickers or patches, those are just, like, kind of, like, one-use items or, like, shittily made figures. I'm just like, about. Especially since, like, I stopped buying, like, the super special editions, like, back in the PS3 era. It's like...
Yeah.
'Cause...
I mean, there was a period where, like, the big, scary collector's editions, like, got way too expensive, and, like, got shoddy. Like, I know there was a lot of complaints about, was it Fallout 4 or Fallout 76's, like, collector's edition with the physical that had, like, really bad merch? I think it was 76.
It was the Pip-Boy, wasn't it? The wearable Pip-Boy?
Yeah, I think they had the problems with the Pip-Boy, and also it came in what was supposed to be, like, a canvas bag, but it wasn't a canvas bag. It was 76, yeah. Like, stuff like that. So, like, that kind of, like, sucked some consumer trust out of it. But yeah, I've gotten steelbooks on some stuff before. Namely, hey, it's me. I'm Omega. They're Square Enix games.
Oh yeah, no, like, specific games, like, I'll go paying. Like, I have the deluxe versions of both, Remake and Rebirth.
Yep.
Like, the big fat ones where they gave you two cases for some ungodly reason.
The classic idea of, well, it was cheaper for us to manufacture the normal edition case, put the disc in a separate cardboard box, and then also give you the steelbook, even though I take the discs out and put them in the steelbook. But yeah, I have that for both Remake and Rebirth and Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I got the 16 one. I got the special editions for both Cold Steel 1 and 2. I got the special edition for Fate Extra. I got the special editions for Fate Extella and Extella Link. And I fucking ordered the fucking... I ordered the Mahjong that came in the JP version of it.
That's right. We talked about the Mahjong. I got the special physical for both Extella games as well, because I have the full set of the tarot type cards, the big Saint Graph cards.
Oh yeah, I did get the big version of fucking Unicorn Overlay. The thing is fucking huge.
I kind of wish I had, because that had some cool stuff, but it was not in the budget. There were a lot of video games.
Got the special edition of Witch on the Holy Night.
Yep, got the big box of that.
Special editions for, like, Rune Factory 4 and 5, Sukuna of Rice and Ruin. Like, games that I feel like I know that I'm gonna be into, I usually am, like, willing to go the extra bit, but just a game just, like, I'm like, about, no. So, like, I didn't get any special, like, did Kingdom Hearts 4 have a special edition? I don't remember. Or 3,
Oh,
why did I say 4?
Probably, but I don't think I picked that one up either. Maybe they didn't have a steelbook for 3.
I should, like, take a picture of like some of these, how big some of these fucking special edition boxes are.
Listen, physical, you gotta... First of all, it's coming back. Just like hipsters rediscovered vinyl, apparently the younger generation's lucky they're discovering how sick it is to own physical media, to buy shit you like to watch on Blu-ray and DVD.
Lucky is also someone who likes vinyl. Is this just because I'm old? Is it because I'm old that I like physical media? I don't fucking know.
I don't know. Like I said, it's what I've heard is that there are rising trends of younger Gen Zs and even Gen Alpha-ers who are realizing that, hey, Netflix is cool, but Netflix can also just decide your show's not on there anymore, and then it moves to a different thing that you don't have. So, believe it or not, a one-time purchase of the physical disc of the thing, you get there. Listen, I like certain things digital. Like, I've gone for digital on quite a lot of things, when it depends, and even when it's not as accessible. But, I don't know, physical stuff is just, it's real solid. Not just in, a literal way, but in a metaphysical way. If I have the disc, I could do it. Technically, if I could find a PS3 that worked, if my own PS3s hadn't been wear and teared down, I still own my PS3 discs. I could insert them today. Same with all my PS2 titles. I've still got them. I could run them. Hell, you get the right software, you can read the ISOs off the discs. You could, dump the ROMs. If you wanted to be crazy like that. I own some, speaking also of purchases, which can get a little pricey, I own some anime releases on DVD and Blu-ray. Anime Blu-rays can get a little, the main thing is, I wouldn't say that's probably not my most expensive.
All three of the Heaven's Feel movies. Go Lucky.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that.
No, that's good. Yeah, I don't think I own any... Yeah, I didn't get them all at once, so I can't say that my anime Blu-rays are my most expensive, because it's one half of FMA Brotherhood, second half of FMA Brotherhood, the 2 separate seasons of Eka 7 AO.
Ow. That hurt.
Final Fantasy VII Advent Children complete.
Ooh.
After already owning the DVD of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children.
Bro, I wish I had I fucking got a bootleg fucking of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children when it actually first came out in Japan. I went to a fucking shady-ass anime shop for that shit. It was great.
I don't remember if I've told this story before, but that's how I actually watched Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie back in the day. We did not get to go to the theater. We could not... Me and the gang, the local neighborhood kids, could not get our parents to take us to the theater. So one day, one of the homies was like, hey, I've got that on DVD, and it's it was clearly a bootleg rip, but we didn't care. We were 10.
I actually saw the first Pokemon movie in theaters. I cried at that shit.
Oh, I saw one of the Pokemon movies in theaters. Was it 2000? I think it was 2000. I think we got together.
No, as financially irresponsible I am, I know, especially when it comes to gacha, no. I don't think I, ever, blow lots of money in, big goes, unless it's, for gacha. Which I gotta be better about it. I need to get a job. I need to be able to have more disposable income. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, sadly, it's life is not like a video game. You cannot, upload your consciousness into the psyche web and,
when can I start doing mini games for gold?
Steal people's shit.
That does remind me. I am interested in the Fable remake or reimagining. I'm not entirely sure what we're calling it.
Reboot at this point, I think, is what we're going for. This is a complete aside, but we're in mailbag, so we can do that. I really feel like the remake terminology is getting muddied a lot, and I remember that one tweet I think I linked a few months ago, a month or two ago, talking about it, where we really need to narrow down what our fucking criteria are, because they are very different. Because there are remasters, HD repackagings, remastered, which for video games, much like the director's cut concept comes from movies and TV. The director's cut thing in video games is also that's actually 100% marketing, very much not true to form, but. Remastered, was the thing they did when we did the switch from SD to HD, which is they actually remastered the originals, would redigitize them or give them new passes. So that's pretty normal. Then you've got remake, which is we made that game again. Shit, people might have been calling the remakes from movies as well first, because that's also something that's happened several times. And chat, if you don't know, movie remakes can be just as weird and counterintuitive as video game remakes. Did you know that the 1999 Mummy is technically a quote-unquote remake of one of the original classic Universal Hammer horror movies?
Really?
Yeah, no, because they were both Universal, and yes, Emotep was the Mummy both times. They reused several names and concepts, like Cairo Museum, the reincarnation of Naxunaman plot. Like that's all lifted from the original. Like, oh, was it a silent movie? The very first Mummy? I mean, there was a Mummy movie that was very silent, but I think the Universal classic one may have been a talkie. But like, yeah, no, that's like you could argue that is a Hollywood remake, but also they're very different. So yeah, when video games do that stuff, yeah, Boris Karloff, the classic. So yeah, no. And then obviously you've got like reboots and stuff, which is like this game is like taking the name and clearly taking the vibes, but is also not meant to be, is not a 1-to-1 remake or remaster, and is also not meant to be like not meant to be a replacement for the original, but also not meant to be the same thing. Like, I think the Resident Evil remakes are remakes in that they are rebuilt from the ground up to be a new video game and a new engine. And they're kind of meant to replace the originals, but you can still play the originals. Whereas, like, if they hadn't gone in the tank, I think, and made, RE7. Don't know why I couldn't think of that for a second. Like, I suspect they would have had to go the reboot route, right?
Yeah.
In some senses, RE7 is a reboot, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. But, like, also it's not, because they kept it in continuity and they kept adding more games.
No. It's a refocus.
It is a refocus. They did return to basics. A revival. God. Oh.
We're making this more complex, son of a bitch!
Oh, fucking English language and your fucking prefixes. Oh no, you can stick re on anything and it makes sense. Our fucking language is designed to be built like this. God. Anyway, RE9 Requiem is apparently reviewing very well and selling very well.
As it should.
Some people are saying it's selling like even more gangbusters than 7 and 8. And I would like to say, obviously that's entirely because of Leon S. Kennedy.
I believe it. But yeah, I think we've tangented horribly enough on that one. Let's move on. This next one comes from the Tire King celebrating Pokemon's 30th. They just had a direct today. We got some new starters. Did they actually announce like a whole new game? Next generation kind of shit?
It is actually going to be the next gen. Wind and Wave, I think.
Mm-hmm. I heard it's based off of the Pacific Islands.
Yeah, sounds like the Pacific coast of like maybe even Southeast Asia. A lot of people are just being straight up, yo dog, this is the Philippines.
That's what I heard. Well, you say that, but there's some parts of the Philippines I hear you don't go. You just do not go.
Well, also, they're fucking tropical and subtropical Pacific islands. Mother Nature sucks out there, man.
Mm-hmm. But, they say, question, hey guys, with White Day here and almost upon us in JP, what's been your favorite White Day event so far? Also, since Pokemon revealed Gen 10, which is your favorite starter at the moment, and are you going to get the game when it comes out next year? Anyway, that's it from it. Sending good vibes your way. Wah, 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 wah. Hope you have a great evening. Oh, God. White Day events. Moriarty's Bar.
That's a pretty good one. I think for me, I have to decide if it's that or the Phantom Thief one. No, I think it's Moriarty. That one was really fun.
No, I loved it. Unfortunately, speaking on Pokemon, I am not into Pokemon anymore. I am only tangentially aware of such things. I'm glad that you guys are happy. I know I heard some, we were in who was it speaking about? Was it Vernon? Or Baron? Speaking about how he really likes Pokemon and he's really stressing about I think
that was Farron last night when we were playing board games.
It was
Pick? Okay.
Pick. Excuse me.
One of X is two gaming buddies.
My apologies.
It's okay, new people. But yeah, no, like it's one of those things, right, where like people do stress about it because they could fuck it up. Mm-hmm. But it seems like they're taking a lengthy time to release it. It's not coming out until next year. Is it going to be purely on Switch 2? Like, that'll probably affect my rate of playing it. I'd like to have a Switch 2 probably by next year, but I don't fucking know how that's going to work. If they're smart, it'll be... Okay, I was about to say, if they're smart, it'll be Switch 2 exclusive, because, like, that's... They probably need to do that, because there's a lot of... Nintendo and the teams at like, Game Freak and everything have hamstrung themselves a little by having to rely on the Switch 1 hardware. Well, by all accounts, the Switch 2 is pretty cracked. Though we might get an announcement of PS6 in 2027, so I don't know.
I think
I think they're still planning on delaying it for a little bit, but we might get an announcement.
I think 2028 is gonna be our big ramp up. Someone's gonna try and see if we can get a couple, see if we got a couple more in the PS5, and then push 2028. Honestly, this honestly may depend on what Xbox does in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, they're not having a great time right now.
No. So apologies for apologies to all those who are curious about Lucky's Pokemon thoughts. I do not necessarily have any. I only saw like a few things in the morning when I was like digging through stuff, but
I mean, if you're asking me about what starter I would pick, dog. I know it's dog.
Dog.
Have you seen that little guy? That little pupper?
Heh.
It's I feel like Pokemon only has so much design room with starters these days, but it's you have Grass Bird, Fire Dog, Blue Thing.
Blue Thing?
Yeah, like I think the water Pokemon's a lizard, but it could be like a salamander. It is supposed to be a gecko? Okay. So now we have Blue Gecko.
Honestly, if Lucky had to prank, I'd probably go with a Blue Gecko. Fucking Greninja is like one of my favorite Pokemon ever.
Greninja's pretty cool. And also, while he is grass, Trico was a pretty rad dude back in the day.
Yeah. I've always been a fan of more scaly reptile Pokemon. So that's Lucky's pick. Just purely on vibes. Blue Gecko, I'm there.
As we all know, this is actually the correct way to pick your Pokemon starter. If you don't look at three guys and just be like, this one is my son. This is my child now. This is my friend. I will die for them. Sorry, now I'm just thinking of that one fucking the Eternal Montage Pokemon TCG video where you summon the Articuno and it turns around, I tried, father.
Oh, it's so good.
We like that gif here.
But, sorry, Lucky had to post. So, moving on. This next one comes from Agent 418, who says, hello, Lucky and Macon. I'm Macon? That's your new name. You're now a Macon.
Like bacon.
Hello, Lucky Omega. Have a good weekend, y'all. Same to you, buddy. Apologies about me not being able to English. And last but not least, this comes from Soul of the Lightmore Discord. They say, dear Stagehand Lucky and Broken Leg Omega. No questions, just been catching up on my Miss Valentines and enjoying them. And enjoying having my own The Dog. You are contractually obligated to say it that way every time. Even if it costs more than I would have normally used on a whim. Oh, I hope the 2 p.m. Marathon stream went well. I lurked for the first 2 minutes or so to see what the deal with the art... Okay, guys. Lucky. This is Give Me the Real Talk. You gotta let shit go. I talked about this earlier. Yes, there was an incident where Reggie, plagiarized some art assets. They apologized, they removed them, they did something new, they moved on. Y'all need to move on as well.
Also, the art director behind that, it's corporate, so it's hard to tell. I think he was fired, but he might have just left the company, resigned in disgrace kind of a thing. I don't know, but he's not at Bungie anymore.
It has been resolved. Stop bringing it up. Stop harping on things that have already happened and have already been fixed. If you are going to spend your life just poking things at negative things constantly, you're just going to have a negative and miserable life, so fucking stop it. I want better things for you, and being negative about things or just pointing out negative things about things is not the way to do it. I swear to fucking God.
Lucky is that Japanese man telling you never give up in the swamp, the shore. He's like, listen, you can be better. You can do better. You have to be the positive change you want to see in the world.
If you don't like Bungie and you don't like Marathon, that is freaking fine, but then don't go bring it up in conversation just so you can, have people to commiserate in your fucking misery with. Don't.
Yeah, we have more specific thoughts on Marathon, and you can watch the stream if you want to see some raw day one footage. In general, this reminds me of a comment that I've seen going around a little, because it really came up, I think, with the kind of what appears to be the demise of not just Highguard, but Wildlight Studios. Reported now that there's about 20 people left there, and Tencent has pulled their secret funding that nobody knew about. But there's a certain amount of grave dancing that seems to be very popular with gamers ever since Concord came out and was a tremendous failure. A generation. Let us be honest. Concord was a generational failure. The amount of money piled in by the original studio, all the capital they raised, the amount of money Sony shoveled into that studio for it to release and explode 2 weeks later, that's pretty bad. But now everybody is everything will be the next Concord. Ghost of Yote, it will fail. Sony will die. Highguard, it will fail. oh, we can do now. Highguard looks like it's failing because technically, Highguard hasn't failed yet. It's still open. The servers are not closed. I think the game is fucked because there's nobody left to work on it. But like it still is available and the servers are still open for now. But people are already doing the the Grim Reaper going down the line meme and trying to show Marathon is next. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think of that. They got their issues, and we'll talk about our experiences with the Server Slam beta. But like, they are like a top pre-order seller.
Oh, excuse me.
Like it's all just the rage bait engagement grift. Like, and here's how you know it's not real, because even when they're wrong, they'll just move on to the next game. Like I said, there was actually a like rage bait engagement farm machine about Ghost of Yote is a fucking flop, and then the sales numbers came out, and like it was a top seller for PlayStation in its starting months. It snagged quite a lot of nominations, even if it didn't win at the Game Awards. Like it was a positive game that Sucker Punch was happy and got good reviews and so on. And like once the narrative could no longer be milked, I'm sure all those guys are talking about the next thing.
Yeah, no. Like I said, negativity just begets negativity. Like, do you like seeing nothing but shit in your lives? Then stop talking about shit in your lives.
It's a fundamental lesson I want people to reapproach. When I was a young boy on the internet, there was a saying, do not feed the trolls. We understood, like 20 years ago, that the whatchamacallit, there were people on the internet who were trying to bait you. We had the term bait even. I have some very funny bait memes that are Fate related in my pocket. Like people knew what bait was, they knew what trolls were. We understood there were motherfuckers who were only out there to make you angry, and when you got angry, they would just be like, I wasn't even saying that shit for real, I just did it to make you mad. You mad, bro? And then, they would ghost. Because they were on the internet and were not real, and we could not reach out and punch them. But people, I feel like, have forgotten that classic lesson, and now we live in a world where you can get paid to rage bait and troll people. If you engagement farm, you get money out of it. So, like, that's the thing I need to tell you, chat. If you see people who are trying to, like, focus you down a negative tunnel, they're trying to, like, piss you off or make you feel pissed off or whatever, whether it's they're wrong or they're right, they kind of, like, suck it back in. They're trying to farm you for money. You are the rice.
Oh, I don't want to be the rice.
Like, I know, but that's a thing that I feel like we need to be better about getting people to realize is, like, it's, it is a farm. It is a bait. They are farming you, and it's not just for their own personal enjoyment now. It's they're getting paid. The ultimate gotcha. And, like, that is what makes that a grift. And I do think that there are some people who have drank their own Kool-Aid and do actually believe some of the things they say. But generally, we've just gotten to such a level where I think most people are just so deep cover that they are functionally for real. Like, we're reaching a post-irony society where truly irony is dead because now you get so deep in the grift that you just become a sleeper cell, basically, to get paid. And it sucks. And y'all, don't fall for that shit. Don't chase those vibes. The thing you want is the thing that that historically people have always wanted, is authenticity. Which, not to put too fine a point on it, is what you get here with us at Studio Omega. I would like your money, but I'm not going to farm you for clicks. I'm just going to be like, hey, I'm here. You want to give me $1? You want to buy me a soda? Sorry, I don't know why, but that triggered like a deep state memory to like the cartoon Recess. Want to buy a winger dinger? Hustler Kid? Remember him?
I remember Hustler Kid. Recess was good shit.
He was a real one.
Can I watch Recess on anything? That was a much more recent time.
Shit, is it on Disney Plus? It was a Disney show, I think, so it should be on there. Hey, you want to speak about physical media? I have the big finale movie, School's Out, on VHS. Honestly, I think the problem is, somebody talking about it in chat, is I think we got so deep in hustle culture, like in the previous decade, that now we truly are like, everything is a hustle, which means that, like, you can no longer... it's become so normalized that people forgot that it's a hustle. Like, It does womp.
CJ was such a great character. Those womps are tender.
Honestly, like, not to get in there, but...
We can get in there. We got nothing but time, man.
I mean, true. But, like, it's a complete wild aside, but as like I said, Recess is a brilliant TV show because the whole point of it is that it's about a group of kids who the most important thing in their day is recess because school sucks, which is like true. There were sub messages sometimes where school activities were neat, but it was like not the standard. But they had a super strong run of the team dynamic. Like they had a classic ensemble cast, which was great. As we said, we got our main character, leader type man,
TJ,
Mikey the big boy, Gretchen.
Yeah.
There was
Gus. Yeah.
Yes, Vince, the sports kid.
That was his name, Vince. Okay.
Yeah, and Spinelli, the tomboy, the girl in 6th grade wearing combat boots. But it was just one of those shows where, like I said, you had an ensemble. They were from a bunch of different backgrounds. You can say we had body positivity. We had a bunch of different body types. Mikey was a large lad with a very deep singing voice.
I love Mikey so much. He was such a gentle giant.
Yeah, Gus was kind of a nerd, but he was also the military kid, and it was about a bunch of schoolyard stuff.
I like
some of which was obviously. Good.
The thing I always find crazy about it, like think about it now, is just how they turned basically a school setting into basically a faction-based society with a bunch of different factions between them. Like you had the kindergartners who acted like the little tribes. You had what was it, King Bob? It was.
Yes, I believe it was Bob. He was the king of the playground because he had a cool hat. There was Hustler Kid and his connected one. There were the nerds. I remember one episode where when I think TJ broke his clavicle, but he was in a cast for like a couple weeks. He had to spend recess in the basement with the super nerds and realized that they were cool dudes, but they didn't want to be outside on recess. It wasn't their realm, man. And obviously, I think the most important thing of all, the show Recess taught you to have a deep, abiding disrespect of snitches.
Fucking Randall.
Fuck you, Randall.
No, I think the episode I remember most fondly is the episode I think where CJ got sick. Or was it TJ? It was TJ, not CJ.
Yeah, TJ.
TJ got sick and came back, and everyone was into a collectible sticker so much that it became the new currency, and he had like none of them, so he had to basically start running a hustle racket to get stickers, and then start paying others. Ugh.
Yeah, no, like he missed out on the fad, which is what it felt like at sometimes like.
Yeah.
I've mentioned this before. I was homeschooled most of my schooling career, but I did go to public school for several grades, and it was like that sometimes. Like, so the new hip thing would hit, and people would be trading stuff, whether it was Pokemon cards. I think there were some leftover Pogs, weird shit, all kinds of stuff, marbles.
No, it was great. No, Recess was very good at the time. Like there was other shows, couple like that. Like I think it was The Weekenders. The Weekenders was good because they had great one-liners in there. I can't remember the cast name to save my life, but I just always remember I always remember two off the top of my head. It's all like, your eyes are so glazed it makes me crave donuts. I'm like, heh.
Damn, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, I know, right? The other one was that food is so healthy it's un-American. I'm just like, eh.
Just, also, I'm looking at it now. Yes, it's on Disney Plus. I'm looking at it.
Okay.
I've added it to my wish list. This is why I pay the House of Mouse. But one thing I think Recess also had going for it, which was a great thing about a lot of kids TV shows back in the day, they didn't use all 20 minutes, right? It was 2 10-minute stories with a break in the middle. So every episode is 2 parts. God, and there's I'm already some classics in here so fast. There's episode 4 is the one where it was revealed that Spinelli's first name was Ashley, so they tried to relocate her to the Ashleys. But that shit did not fly. And honestly, like I said, the kids crave recess, but I remember their homeroom teacher, Miss Grokey, was cool.
No, Miss Grokey was cool. She did a bunch of cool stuff.
It's just that, it is one of those things where kids, you got a lot of energy, you need to get out.
You gotta get out. You gotta run. You must be free.
God, episode 9. The box. Miss Finster plans to put rule breakers into the box. I remember that one. That one is a psychological horror one because the box isn't real, but you can't go out of it, so they just start to go crazy, man. I'll tag them. Maybe I'll watch that later while we're firing off. Codename Kids Next Door is another one that's real fun.
I thought that was. I kind of like that one. It was interesting. How many seasons did they get?
Oh, quite a
I
few.
know it got quite a few because they were having some sort of storyline.
It is one of those shows that I remember being on, and I would usually watch it when it was on, but it was not yet in the sense where I was, like, keeping track of continuity of, like, watching the order of episodes.
I was mostly interested in the budding romance between 3 and 5.
Very solid stuff.
Oh, yeah.
No, but there's some real good runners in there. For Codename Kid Next Door and a lot of the shows out there, keep in mind, a lot of that stuff coming March is going to be on Tubi. That's not on-demand streaming, but they will have, spaces where you can watch it. It will be with commercials, but it's not gone forever, which is nice.
I mean, that's just... I'm sorry, I hear with commercials, I'm just like, if we're, like, doing, like, actual commercials, not weird-ass, we're trying to shove this in your streaming experience commercials, I'm okay with that.
I mean, I think I have it re-downloaded for this reason. I tried to watch a little bit of it. It's like, it is...
It was 3 and 4, excuse me.
Yeah. It is like... I mean, it's modern ads, but it is, they basically sandwich in your streaming experience. When you tune in, you get an ad, and then between, shows, and I think at the scheduled breaks, you'll get ad breaks.
Yeah.
Not, like, as long as maybe, like, a classical commercial break, but still, like, timed to, I think, what would be appropriate. The art of the commercial break is, like, a really wild one. Sorry, sneeze really snuck up on me there. Ugh. But yeah, no, like, that's another thing that people don't think about as much anymore, which is that, like, the commercial break is like an art. And yes, when you were shooting for non, like, cable premium TV, you absolutely had to, like, plan for that in the scripting and shooting room.
Yeah.
Like, that's a thing that I think, was supposed to be part of the appeal of, like, why people flocked to original streaming, series originally. Because it's like, oh yeah, you don't need to worry about scheduling commercial breaks.
And then you realize that shit makes money, and you need to make money, so they start putting ad breaks in there. Funny how that works.
They do ad-supported tiers because they spent... It's the classic folly, which is, you start a service, it's really cool, it explodes everywhere, you make a shitload of money, you reinvest that money, and you make a lot back, but then you keep reinvesting the money bigger and bigger until eventually you fuck it up, and then you realize, oh wait, infinite growth is not sustainable. We need to pursue alternative revenue methods. What if we start introducing ad-subsidized tiers that are lower cost, but also we're getting subsidized for the lower subscription fee by the ads we're selling? That will get more people involved, surely.
Surely.
I mean, it did kind of work for me with Disney Plus and Hulu, because I do have the ad-supported one, but that's also because I switched to the ad-supported bundle of those two, rather than paying for ad-free Disney Plus alone, because that shit was getting expensive. But yeah, no, like there are a lot of solid stuff. I think there are a lot of cartoons that were, weird and out there, like back in the day, and there are still some of that energy today. I think there's something that everybody goes, like, you see a new thing that's aimed at kids, and you go, what is this junk? You're rotting your brains, children. But it's like, nah, kids' entertainment has always been a little weird and wacky because, children, their neurons are still plastic. Maybe they don't have object permanence yet, that kind of thing. You can be a little weird, a little goofier. Like, obviously, shit like Courage the Cowardly Dog, extra freaky.
Oh, God.
Great Adventures of Billy and Mandy, super freaky.
I remember the time when Voltaire actually did a song for that. It was great.
But I think a lot of the kids' cartoons I remember watching were stuff like Recess and Codename Kid Next Door, like more ensemble stuff. The Teen Titans cartoon run, iconic.
The first one.
The original one. Weird. Yeah, Teen Titans Go is weird. Was weird. I think they did finally stop making it. But yeah, the original non-Go Teen Titans, like, super iconic. And honestly, like, to this day, still very iconic. I don't think there's been a better cyborg design than Teen Titans yet. He's got a very, very solid look.
Alrighty.
Gang.
Oh.
Sorry, it's me struggling to rise out of my chair. I need to, after that sneeze and cough, I need to blow my nose. So give me a second to mute up and do that in quiet. Okay, now we can continue.
Well, that's it for the mailbag, actually.
Alrighty, well, as we exunt mailbag, I think that'll be mostly me then, because as you said, you have not started White Day yet.
Yarp.
So I'll give my first impressions very briefly. I mentioned this, I'm pretty sure it was on mic before mailbag, but I was talking about it before a little. And I did mention it in the pregame. The kind of starter setup here, apart from just, we're hanging around with a bunch of our targeted servants because, we're telling all kinds of cool stories, which of course means that Charlemagne is there, our cool story aficionado. The guy who gets more stronger the more cool his story is. But, we're sucked into singularity where I do think it's very fun because Charlemagne actually shows some presence of mind here. He pulls us aside and is like, hey, there's a Holy Grail here. There's some weird stuff. Why don't we play it cool? Why don't we say we're from Chaldea? So, everybody, pretends to be different guys. You even claim to be, as the master, claim to be, you, but a caster to explain away your abilities.
We've done it before. We can do it again.
Yeah. So, that's kind of neat, we're on a different foot, but we run into, the who seems like the boss of the Singularity, which is Cyrano de Bergerac, who is a cool pantomime shadow, actually.
Oh, really?
Like, his design's not filled in. He is a silhouette. I think you can see him in some of the art. Like, he's a very expressive silhouette, but he's just a silhouette. There's even a dialogue about, like, asking, straight up, are you the historical guy, Cyrano de Bergerac, or are you the main character of the title character of the play, Cyrano de Bergerac? So that's a fun one. Because you didn't know the actual Cyrano de Bergerac was a novelist, playwright, duelist, and letter writer. Very, very famous one. And then they wrote a play about him later at Malverstant, which is, a fictionalized version. And they do summarize the play if you're not familiar. You can do your classic, I know the story or I don't know the story kind of a thing. I do always appreciate when the game lets us do that.
I'm going to have to go. I don't know that story because I don't actually know this story.
Yeah. But they'll recap it, and then, you get sucked into, Cyrano says, well, I think I figured out how to release the Holy Grail. We have to put on a play. What play are we going to put on? Cyrano de Bergerac, obviously. But as I am a shadow, we'll have to get somebody else to play my role. Let me look at all these fine fellows you've assembled. Who will it be? It's you! Picks out the Dawn. Which is very funny.
The Dawn?
Yes. Don Quixote de la Mancha is one of our leading characters in this, along with Charlemagne, who gets put in the secondary male lead role as Christian. We have Yang Guifei comes out of nowhere to play the female lead. I think she's supposed to be a rogue servant, not a Chaldean servant. The game is, as always, usually a little loosey-goosey with that. But, yeah. And then, so far, like I said, the part where I'm at is basically just kind of like recapping the story of the play, occasionally getting involved in some weird stuff going on, because it is a singularity, so, there are giant ghosts and stuff hanging around, because of course they are.
Yeah.
And then, kind of like, because the idea is, it seems to be the alleged plot is that we will simply, the Holy Grail will be released and somebody will be able to capture it if we perform the play correctly. But what exactly that means is, up to interpretation. So I'm sure there'll be some funny twists. In the story, Charlemagne does bust out his new costume. It's supposed to be his, his cool on the download disguise with his flat cap and stuff. So that's neat. And otherwise, it just seems like a good excuse to get all of the peers of the paladins of Charlemagne we have as of right now, and include Don Quixote.
This is important to me for reasons.
Yes. And just, hang around and get some, like I said, some very funny reads from Cyrano de Bergerac, because he's here, but he can't actually do the play because he's a 2D shadow. He's Mr. Game & Watch, basically. So I like it so far, but like I said, haven't really sunk our teeth in yet. It's still pretty light in, like I said, the recapping, and occasionally, getting some gags in for, people saying their lines, reading their lines, etc.
Mm-hmm. Sounds delightful.
So we'll probably have some more on that later, because it's all, 1 or 2 sections at a time gate, so it won't be too long before everybody can do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll schmoove on through.
Schmoove
on through to the other side. Let me adjust my microphone to be a little closer to my face. But I think that will bring us to the end of Free Talk, such that it is. Like I said, short Free Talk today.
Indeed.
Because we're, White Day is usually pretty light. And there's no new JP announcement yet, no brand new server or anything, so we are just chilling. But we will have much more on the FGO angle next week, like I said, because we'll have more on White Day, probably have some more, whatever is happening next for JP will be announced. They should still have a CBC of their own. Are we guesstimating that it's going to be a costume this year? Is that where we're at?
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't remember. Chat, I'm sure will let us know, or you can let us know in the comments, but we'll have probably, more news about that, and like I said, next week, look forward to a pregame on Ordeal Call 2, because that will be the timely time for it. So that takes us to What's Up?
Yeah.
where do you want to start in What's Up, Lucky?
Wherever you feel is appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, just because we've talked about it before, let's go ahead and talk about the Marathon Server Slam.
Server Slam.
The beta.
The beta.
So we are in the middle of the Marathon Server Slam beta. It is still technically the second day of what's going to be a long weekend beta. It is completely open. You can check it out, on, I think, basically everything but Switch 2. And honestly, that's probably only because, even though they do have Nintendo Switch Online, it's weird. But it is out for people to try out. I have played a decent amount.
Lucky has made attempts.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, you've at least played for several hours, so like you've put in your time.
Yeah, I played with you today, and I put in a couple hours here today. Well, maybe not a couple, but like at least an hour.
I mean, that's still like 3 or 4 hours of beta time. That's still a pretty decent, schwack to give it.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, if somehow you have been living under a rock, Marathon is a new Bungie release that's upcoming. The actual release date is March 5th. It is a extraction shooter, which in the pre-show we did actually have some talk back and forth about which came first. And like I said, I couldn't actually find the date for when the like early access for Escape from Tarkov started. They were working on development since like 2012, but I don't know when that you could actually play Escape from Tarkov. Division number 1 was like 10 years ago now. It was 2016. And as we did discuss in the pre-show, the first Tom Clancy's Division did have an extraction mode. Like the Dark Zone stuff was very much, I remember the like trailers for it. It was the thing that people talk about when they think about extraction shooter stuff, which is like there's premium loot in a very dangerous zone and you have to physically extract it. You can get ambushed.
Yep.
The whole thing. So, the idea is that, and Marathon is a sequel, interquel, something
Quill. Yeah.
To Bungie's classic series that originally debuted on Mac, the original Marathon trilogy, which was Bungie back in the day. So in the original Marathon, very like classic iconic FPS, like a super moody, story-driven, though you are in that game a literal voiceless protagonist. You are possibly the platonic ideal of all protagonists. It really depends what that terminal means by I am % hero. But it had a lot of themes that Bungie would revisit later. Space exploration, alien invasions, AI going rampant, space magic bullshit.
Space magic bullshit.
Eldritch horrors beyond ye ken. That's something they kind of, you can argue the Flood, but that's mostly out of the face for Halo. Definitely comes back in Destiny, though. Lots of Eldritch horrors on that. But, it's kind of an early entry that Bungie did that set it up. So, the extraction shooter Marathon is based on that setting. Does not seem to necessarily be a direct continuation or reinterpretation of anything from Marathon 2 and 3. Timeline-wise, it is probably set after the original Marathon, because the story that is told to you in the intro movie, which is very nice, but the intro movie basically says that
I'm sorry, you're calling it nice as we are seeing the most psychedelic, unhinged shit just happen constantly.
Yeah, let me rephrase. Let me use a different one. It's pretty rad. It's a pretty rad opening movie.
Okay.
Very, very, very neat in the sense that the graphic package is indeed very clean. But yes, the original Marathon games are very weird. Honestly, lots of Bungie games are actually pretty weird if you read about them. I know that Halo is kind of one of the iconic ball and gun games these days, but there was some weird shit in Halo back in the day. Everybody remembers Halo 3 and fucking Cortana's time dilation collect calls, where her giant face looms in front of you and she says stuff to you while you slow down. But, in the backstory of both the original game and the new Marathon, humanity is exploring the stars. They have taken Mars's moon of Deimos and hollowed it out, put a giant spaceship in it. That's the UESC Marathon. Shot that shit into space to Tau Ceti 4. And as far as the rest of humanity is concerned, the Tau Ceti 4 colony just went dark. They fucking went off comms. They disappeared. No message got back. Apparently there's all kinds of corporate, government, public, shenanigans about what exactly happened. Lots of concern, lots of digging, but no detail are gotten at all until after, I believe, what they said, over 200 years. They get a message back, which is just, in the heavens, they are waiting. The intro movie does a very cool thing where they, instead of the normal narrator reading this, they intercut with, I'm pretty sure that's Ben Starr as Durandal reading that to you, because that is one of the things Durandal says in the original Marathon 1. And in the heavens they are waiting is like a classic Marathon tagline. So, it turns out the Tau Ceti colony been super wiped out. Everybody dead. Spaceship Marathon floating there. What happened? We don't know. UESC locks that shit down because they suck. They're the space cops and I hate them. Chad, can you tell that when I took their little personality test, I got MIDA, the Violent Martian Revolutionists. But the UESC has completely locked this down. But there's a lot of money to be made in the ruins of Tau Ceti colony, so as a player, you take the role of a runner, a biocybernetic construct with a uploaded mind. You know, you're as a runner, you are a consciousness which has been downloaded or uploaded from another body and placed in a digital space, so you can be plugged in over and over again to your shell. And you will need to run to make money and uncover the secrets of Marathon. Why do you need to make money? Well, because you owe Cyber Acme, a lot of money for making you an immortal robot god, an immortal, killing cyborg. So, you gotta pay him back. On the way, you will encounter other runners employed as disposable freelancers for various factions. These are other players, and you will also run into the UESC robots, who are mean.
They are very mean.
Mean blue fighting machines. And also, occasionally, you will run into weird shit. Though, admittedly, in the beta, I have not seen a lot of the weirdest shit myself firsthand. Though, I should double-check the codex. I think I've got a codex entry for the ticks. I don't know if those are supposed to be native to Tau Ceti or what. Those guys are also awful. But yeah, so it's an extraction shooter. There's a lot of potential, and actually, even in the beta, a lot of accessible lore and storytelling, and a lot of interesting aesthetics. They've developed kind of a specific art style. Like I said earlier, Bungie did a lot of work to kind of, revamp assets, because there were some posters and in-game graffiti that were plagiarized, but they have removed all of them, replaced them. And there's a lot of stuff going on, and, they have a art style that is a little distinct from the classic Marathon. Honestly, though, that's pretty Bungie. I don't think any two Bungie franchises have looked exactly the same. Even Halo 2 Marathon, the aesthetics are still slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
I have actually also, this is an aside, but some people have complained about the aesthetics of the guns in New Marathon.
I mean, I think they're blocky, but I also think they're suitably weird future-ish enough.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to look like that because I'm pretty sure the idea is they're all 3D printed or otherwise fabricated,
That's what I think, yeah.
Yeah, they look like they're blobs of space plastic and polymers, slapped together. Also, the original Marathon's guns were fucking weird. Let me grab a look of the original Marathon assault rifle if I can find the design.
No,
odd.
Marathon, shell design and weapon design, I don't necessarily have a problem with. They seem very much, the weird future aesthetic that I think, Marathon was trying to nail. So, all the shells they're all they are all weirdly painted and oddly shaped. They're, still all, humanoid and stuff, but, they have very weird greebles on, all of them.
Yeah,
they look at them, just kind of go, ugh.
Yeah, which I think is intentional. As a runner shell, you are a weird, fucked up cyborg zombie. So, it's supposed to be like that. Anyway, everybody please look at the Marathon 1 assault rifle, which also has an underbarrel grenade launcher, which I think is what that weird drum thing is supposed to be, but also, huh? The design in Marathon 2 / Marathon 3 Infinity is, much more normal, but yeah, no, the original Marathon 1 assault rifle I've always thought was weird. So, the guns are meant to be a little oddball.
No.
The environments are very interesting. It is, I think we can both agree, interiors, no notes.
Interiors are great.
They are suitably, freaky, I want to say. They are not always cramped, but they have different light levels, different, levels of sterility, different levels of junk lying around, lots of good pocket lint. But they feel suitably, enclosed, and I don't think I've ever entered a building and wondered what the fuck that building is when I'm inside. They're all clearly, this is a lab, this is, the cargo hauler, this is, a warehouse kind of a thing, right? Even the tunnels are well, this is a sewer tunnel, I'm in a literal drainage ditch right now. Mm-hmm. The exteriors are a little weird and prefab.
No, I was about to say, the prefab is defined by someone who grew up with fond memories of a fucking bouncy castle.
Yeah, everything's a little, not quite iPod future, but there's lots of big rounded shapes. there's a lot of interplay of like very bright colors. I think like deliberately. I think what they're going for is like everything is supposed to be like brightly colored and pop, and then you realize that like, oh, it sucks here.
Mm-hmm. Well, my big problem with the exteriors is not just the fucking bouncy castle decor. It's just the large amounts of grassy rocky nothing between like prefabs. Like not the whole areas like that, but you do have some big installations in there. But more often than not, I do not start in said big installation. I start off on the fucking boonies somewhere and have to walk over, 5 minutes of fucking grass and maybe hit a prefab before I get anywhere, interesting.
Yeah, the spawn points are randomized. They all tend to be towards the outer edges. So there are, at least in Perimeter, one of the 2 maps you can access in the beta.
Yes, I should speak. I've only seen Perimeter, so I cannot speak of. What was the marshes?
I've played a little on Dire Marsh. Dire Marsh. There are open spaces in it, but because it is actively a swampland, there is a lot more foliage. Like, Perimeter, there is greenery, but it feels like most of the trees and grasses have been, like, cleared or trimmed back,
Yeah.
In fact, there's literally one of the big open spaces you can get is full of, like, furrowed earth that never got planted, Like, it's literally got rows where they dug it up or something for the terraforming. So, like, Dire Marsh is, like, much more heavily foliated, so it feels like there's still a little bit of, like, cover or obscuring. Perimeter is, like, the obscuration comes from whether or not there's fog or rain on the map, which is randomized, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
The weather may or may not be a couple of different conditions.
The thing that also bugs me about Perimeter is that, as with all games, I guess I should say, I was trying to think, it's like the area is just surrounded by a giant-ass featureless rock wall. I'm just like, okay. Could we have done something different there?
Maybe. I think there are some specific points where there might have slightly different ones, but yeah, there's usually like you slope up to either a poured concrete wall or a natural rock wall to kind of cut you off. And I don't know what the other ones will look like. Like I said, they've got a 3rd map that's supposed to be in at launch that's not in the beta at all, Outskirts. I think there's room for them to, like, if you're asking yourself, this is going to be a game that's probably going to be no matter what, is going to be online. You had to be online for it. We'll see if there will be, like, how the future, like, server populations go, and, like, whether or not they introduce maybe some modes that are meant to be purely PvE. Because, like, one thing that a lot of people are making comparison points to Arc Raiders for various things, because Arc Raiders is going to be the same price point. Marathon will be $40. Arc Raiders is $40. It came out last year and was super popular. I've seen people talking about in Arc Raiders, that like the Arc Raiders devs have straight up said that their PvE encounters are not balanced for everybody to band together and take them on.
Mm-hmm.
And Arc Raiders does actually seem to have a like community split where like you can truly do the friendly thing, or if you get a lot of PvPing, you get shunted towards more PvP focused areas. If you are generally cooperative and go your separate ways, you will get pushed towards more friendly servers. And on those servers, it seems like people are absolutely willing to band together to take out bigger threats. I do not see that shit anywhere in the Marathon beta. I've been playing for 2 days. Never seen that shit. Like,
oh my god.
I have run into a couple of people, very rarely, who, like, we've exchanged some bullets. They have clearly gone one way. And I was like, okay, they're clearly breaking off contact. I will go the other way. Yeah. It's very rare, though, and the only times it's happened is I have spooked somebody. I have gotten the jump on someone. I plugged them a little. Nothing really happened. They didn't really, like, assuming... I've heard some people talk that certain proximity chats are not working out. It's a beta, so they're testing, so there might be some issues that they're trying to get over. But, like, there was no, like, shout of, like, chill. It was just, like, I took a couple pot shots, didn't down them, they just broke off, went out the other door, and I was like, okay, they ran away, I'm gonna do the smart thing and not go out that door. I'm gonna go out the other door. Because I don't want to get into a scrap that I don't control anymore,
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I have not seen anybody, like, pushing for cooperation. Honestly, mostly I see people avoiding priority threats and stuff because, as being discussed in chat, the UESC ads, the PvE part of it, those guys have hands. Literally. They will fucking rocket dash up to you and punch your lights out.
Yeah. They got real good aim, too, by the way, buddy. I've gotten domed multiple times by their scouts.
Yeah. It depends on the type of guy, but yeah, they definitely have guys who are straight shooters. They have Grenadiers, who I believe I said this on stream yesterday to Lucky. The Grenadiers clearly go to the Sankheli school of throwing grenades, the elites from Halo. because they will fucking throw those. They will hurl them far.
Sometimes multiples.
Yeah. And these are just the normal guys. Like, the commander units can have some special abilities. They can cloak, they can shmove. There are clips of them being crazy out there. And I've seen them from a distance. I've never closed up close. But there are UESC infiltrators who, like, have the same movement abilities players do, and they look like other players. They have, like, loot bags on their back. Like, they are fake runners. You can tag them as UESC, but at a glance, you would think it was another runner. Like, and out there. And this is the thing I told you about in the pre-show, but yes, so apparently on day one, people were complaining they weren't getting into enough PvP, which is why I said that, like, apparently we're pretty good, because we were caught by players more than we were caught out by UESC.
Mm-hmm.
But Bungie has been, and Marathon staff have been tweeting about this and stuff, and talked about it, and said one of the reasons why you might be not encountering PvP is because people are not suppressing the UESC presence. They're being overwhelmed. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's how tough the UESC, the PvEs are, is people are getting killed by ads so that the servers become, or the instances become less populated, so you see less PvP.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it is crazy. Like I said, I personally, I want to say this up front. Actually, yeah, we should. I've given an overview. We can, I think, give some of our high level thoughts. I think so far, based on my experience, that Marathon is a game for me. I have played it, and I have gone back to playing it after a day. I am oftentimes enjoying myself, and I am not necessarily, like, having a bad time. Sometimes I'm not sure I'm having a good time, but that's just me thinking about, like, tense moments I spent hiding in the dark in Hauler trying not to get killed. Or another time I, like, backed into a dead end and just fucking half a dozen UESC guys chased my ass down the corridor. I won that fight, but that was a little spooky.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. So, like, I think I'm in for the game at this point. I kind of like what they're doing with contracts. There is, permanent progression you can get to, and the way certain systems work, if you just need, like, a little cash, or you need a little bit of loot, they have methods that it's not that hard to, bum around and scavenge. Like with the Rook mode, which I did do some Rook runs yesterday, so I can talk about that a little. That said, I know that I am an outlier, it seems, for this type of game. The talk about the PvP stuff makes me a little trepidatious. Like, I am not necessarily having a super hard time finding PvP clashes. And I don't know.
Are people wanting, like, giant gunfights or something?
Yeah, I
like,
guess. I mean, it is
groups?
a beta. I think people want to try out the gunplay against real humans and, like, see the different abilities. I don't know. Like, I am not sure what people are saying when they're talking about they feel like they're not getting into PvP fights enough. Like, is it just they don't see in other players, period? So, like, they're like, they're, I don't know if that means that people are, like, suspicious that, like, the game's, not real somehow. Like, oh, there's a lot of concurrence, but I don't see anybody. Am I being, like, bamboozled here, kind of a thing? I don't know. People also have, like, UI complaints that I'm not sure I understand. Like, I didn't really have any problems navigating the menus of Marathon. Like, sometimes you gotta click a couple extra buttons because I'm like, I'm like, oh, this isn't the one I want, tab over. But I don't think I get lost, Did you think there were any UI elements that kind of had you lost, Lucky?
No, not really. It seemed pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so like I said, there are people talking about that, and I'm like, I don't get that at all.
I don't either. It's like, yeah, like, once it, no, like, I think there's some part of the mechanics I didn't understand, probably, but I don't think it was anything on the UI's fault. Hell, shit, I think maybe, well, honestly, I think this UI might be, like, now I'm thinking about it, I think the UI probably is a little bit too simplified for me. Like,
so, basically, you've touched on two things. Go ahead with it. Sorry, you were going to start another thought.
Well, no, I was just thinking about, like, some of the things that, like, I remember seeing on screen. It's just, like, I don't think the UI had enough on it. People were talking about, like too complex or hard to understand. It's just, like, I don't think it was necessarily hard to understand, but I do, like, feel like sometimes that the information that I needed was not always readily available to me. That might be because I was always running around with fucking nothing, because guess what? I died a lot, which means I never risked bringing anything more than the fucking, free package, because guess what? I probably wasn't going to make it on the next run.
Yeah,
surprise,
no, I didn't. I've successfully extracted a decent amount of times. I did it at least enough to get the challenge in the beta. So, like, that's at least 5, and then the game hasn't been counting. So, like, I'm not doing terrible at that, Mart, but I'm doing a lot of stuff with, like, prefabs, and then if I make it to the next run, I keep that preloaded inventory in, and then maybe we add a couple things to it. You know, like I don't feel honestly. I mean, it may be that there's some stuff out there that's like, you know, really in demand. You know, there are some people have found some like high level, you know, mods and weapons and stuff. But honestly, I don't really feel like, even as tough as like some of the USC guys are, I'm like, I don't feel the need to like get loaded to bear with like high level shit. Like I don't necessarily know what that would do for me, right? Like obviously better shields would give me more shield bar, which would be nice. But other than that, it's like I don't, you know. There's new attachments and modifiers on like higher level guns, but like, you know, do I really need some of that stuff? I don't know. You can do perfectly fine with the prefab kits they give you. Getting kicked back to the Traxxas kit because you washed out, or a lot of free Mida kits for leveling up early. But yeah, like the two things you said though that I do think are like out there, and I don't know, I might need to get on there. You know, I might not just want to tweet into the void. I might actually want to see what kind of feedback options they have. But there are two things I think that like I do genuinely think are probably drawbacks to Marathon. Number one, on the UI element, this game's called Marathon. Where the fuck is my motion tracker? There should be the little motion tracker in the corner. And I get obviously that seems a little too free for like a, you know, PvPvE extraction shooter. But like just don't mark the difference between UESC guys and runners. Like, I feel like that is a piece of information that I would like. I would like to know if there's a guy, like, within a couple yards of me that is not necessarily in visual. They've done a lot of work for the audio cues.
Audio's pretty good, I think.
Yeah. Like you, if you're listening, and I have been making sure to listen, you can tell the difference between hearing another runner sprint and, like, UESC guys walking. You can hear doors be opened. There's a lot of those, like, clear plastic, like, strip things hanging from the ceiling that make a sound when you walk through them to add, like, another audio cue. Like, shit like that. Gunfire is very distinct, so you can usually, if you're keeping an ear out, tell what's probably a player firing because they are using a gun that the UESC don't use, kind of a thing. And they throw in, like environmental false leads, like, you know, there are lightning storms on Tau Ceti that, you know, make big crashing, booming sounds that are, like, spooky but are not necessarily correlated to any player activity, sort of a thing. So, like, the sound design's good, but, like, I feel like it's a Marathon game. I feel like I want a little motion tracker in the corner. And I have heard some people talk about how it's hard to keep track of your own squad mates.
That is a little hard, I think. I have lost you a couple times.
Yeah. I lost track of you a couple of times as well, and I will say that, like, I admit that, again, I personally felt a focus on contracts with this game because that's how you unlock the factions, because that's how you unlock permanent progression. You know, once you unlock all the factions, you can start getting EXP in them, which means you can buy upgrades that are either permanent or season-long. And, you know, so that seems like the way for a game like this that is, like, that's the way to go, right? For me, I'm like, that's what I want. You know, more vault space, more credit limit, but also more stuff like more or greater falling damage resistance. You can unlock, you know, being able to permanently buy certain items in the shop. The first item you can unlock when you do unlock Mida, which I did actually do. By the way, the Mida unlock contract is super funny. You get hacked again by _Gantry, who is like, hey, you want to fuck up the UESC? You want to prove you're real to Mida? Where Mida's a fire. Are you fuel? Let's find out. He's like, break windows, kill UESC. Literally cause problems. So, like, and like vibe. I said, so there's a lot of flavor and character in this stuff. So I'm like, that's the shit I'm really interested in.
No, like, the flavor of, like, the characters and the visuals of, like, the the narrative aspects, I guess you can even call it, fucking phenomenal. Just makes me go, ooh.
Yeah, no, which is, again, it's why it's like I trust that Bungie has narrative chops. It's just, it is weird that they are doing this as what seems to be a purely, well, not purely, like I said, the UESC does have hands, but is only available in PvPvE modes, and right now, mostly people seem, at least there seems to be a decent undercurrent of players who are trying to chase the PvP dragon. And, like, that's the kind of stuff that's like, yeah, I don't, some of these contracts are a little complex. I would not want people to, like, beat my ass on the middle of it, kind of a thing. Doing those contracts, I want to finish my earlier thought real quick, was the game was not really good at, like, showing me, like, what your contract objectives were. So, like, it was hard for us to, like, as a unit, focus on those and, like, collab on them.
Yeah. PvP Dragon. But, no, like, So, I don't think Marathon necessarily is a bad game. I definitely do not think it is necessarily a game for me, especially a game that I'm not going to play on my own. Like I said, I personally am a fan of the concept of the extraction shooter. The problem that I have found, though, is that everyone wants their extraction shooters to be PvPvE. And I'm like, why? Generally, PvE mechanics are usually hard enough that they are a problem on your own and you generally want help anyway. Why are we adding the added complication of having, a player who's just maybe has too itchy of a fucking trigger finger into this mix? Or, a coordinated group of people with itchy trigger fingers. God, I remember some of the runs I used to do back into Division 1. Literally, what people would do in their groups of 3 were run up, kill people, run away, and then they would all spam the fucking defense ability that made them nigh impossible to kill until they could just run far enough away. So it was almost impossible to stop people because they all just kept popping their defensive buff. It was fucking stupid. So, sorry. That was a tangent. So no, I like the concept of extracting shooters. I like the idea of being a dude. I go into a place. I try to get the loot. I try to get back. There are complications along the way. This is one of the reasons why I like Forever Winter. Forever Winter has its own balancing problems and it's hard, but it's basically just a PvE extraction shooter. It's just that the E is, giant fucking mechs that will actually fucking eat you.
The E has super big hands. From what I understand and recall.
Yeah. And I'm not averse to online components to these things, but for Marathon specifically, I feel like this is coming from the players, literally the Halo and Destiny players who just want to, use, Bungie, gameplay to shoot other people. They're not interested in actually being part of the extraction shooter, they're a part of, actually shooting other people.
Because I gotta say, listen, I've been shot a pretty decent amount of times. I don't have good loot, chat. I am running a fucking Traxxas for free starter kit, and I have, a couple of unstable diodes in my pocket, okay?
If I was, some big-ass, honestly, I don't think killing other runners really gets you anything. Well, you can kind of tell when people have loot, because you can see their guns, they'll drop their guns, and you can tell when people have backpacks on. Yeah. You can tell when people has a backpack on. You can run without a backpack and not have a bunch of loot. That does not stop people. Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah, no, like I said, I feel like people are still early in the process, and they are, like I said, they are PvP focused, and it's not necessarily to their benefit at all. I don't have good shit. You don't get good loot from killing other players. Now, there are, I think, depending on the way the factions work out, there are objectives to do that. Literally how you get to unlock Arachne, which is in the pre-release, they are the mysterious cult of death and rebirth, right? To unlock them, you have to do damage to other runners and down one other runner. You don't actually have to kill them. You have to down them. So, I don't know. I think there are some EXP benefits to, downing runners, but not a lot. It's not a lot of season EXP. So, like I said, I don't know. It might just be, early game teething, where people are like, oh, well, this is a beta, so, I want to see what shooting other people is like. Like I said, that's not my... Man, like I said, when I load into Marathon, I'm looking left, I'm looking right. I'm like, where the fuck is the nearest cover? Where do I go? All right, slurp up all the healing items in this piece of shit building for later. Where are we going? What are we doing? What are my objectives? Crouch walk my way to the nearest objective. And guess what? If I get a bad spawn, where I'm not near the location I need to be to complete a contract objective or something, I'm like, okay, the moment the extraction spawns, we are getting out of here. I am not going to try and haul my ass across this map to get that objective done, because I don't want some guy to see me running and go, ooh, time to kill. I play the game a little skittishly, and I think that's, the game's okay with that, but the community stuff is still very new, where, I don't, like I said, I don't know where it's going to sort out in, once the game launches. I don't know where it's going to sort out in a week. I don't know where it's going to sort out in a month, kind of a thing,
No.
It may actually be that people realize, a month in, oh yeah, if you're playing normal, because I do think the menu shows that they will have a ranked mode in the final one. But if you're playing, normal runs, not ranked sweating, there's no reason to shoot another runner if he doesn't shoot you first, kind of a thing, because he probably doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
We may form a metagame, but right now people are just, like you said, they're just... Yeah, somebody actually in Patreon chat, I think, said it really good. They're just treating it like it's COD, almost. Like we're in a team deathmatch, not even team deathmatch. Sometimes we're just in a deathmatch map, and it's like whoever kills wins. I don't want to say I got a little away from it. My second point I want to say is like because you talked about how you don't think the game's for you, and that's okay, everybody.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm currently where I'm at. I think this game is for me, but I am having a different experience than some people seem to be having with this game. But one thing I do think is a problem, and is one of those things where I'm like, I think this game is for me, but I am still wondering what it will be like long term. I think the onboarding for players is a little loosey-goosey. Like Lucky said, I think there are some mechanics or some ideas that are just not clear right now. Like, I see a lot of people being like, oh, when you're out looting, keep an eye out for cores and implants. Those will really change your build. And I'm like, I'm doing a build? I mean, I guess I'm doing a build because I have those slots, but like, I don't know, man. Sometimes we're just, I'm just looking for unstable biomass I can trade to Cyber Acme for heals. Because you can barter certain, not just pay credits to get stuff, but you can also barter certain Volt items to get things.
I think that was fairly inspired.
Yeah, that's a neat system that I like. And I do like that, like, one of the things you buy when you level up reps, like I said, is you can level up the store and get new items. I remember now. I distracted myself talking about how cool the Mida interaction was. But, like, the first thing you unlock from the Mida faction shop, Claymore Mines, bombs, and, like, everything you can unlock later is you can just buy certain grenades and throwables and explosives and shit from them.
Mm.
I think one of their later unlocks is fucking trap bags. Like, you can throw fake loot bags on the floor. That I may have to pick up if I can unlock that in the beta, just because that, like I said, I've popped a few players in self-defense and not in self-defense, just because everybody's pretty aggressive, so it seems like it's usually better to err on the side of caution. But I am absolutely the kind of spiteful that I would be like, oh yes, I would love to drop a fake bag and, like, prank you because you thought you were getting some fucking loot, bozo. I'm out here fighting ticks and UESC robots who, like, turn invisible and dash like they're fucking Gundams. There are, again, I have not seen them in person, but they are out there. They are eldritch entities from beyond Arcan on this fucking planet. Like, I do not need to be here because you think that I might have, a green assault rifle in my pocket. Okay? And like you said, that is how people are, that's how shooters are flying right now in Marathon. That's how people are running it. So it's an odd one, but a lot of people before the beta were like, this game has no sauce, and it's like, no, Marathon has sauce. It's saucy as hell. The flavor might not be what you like, but there's a lot of shit going on here that's very key video game stuff.
It might have sauce. I don't know if it got pasta though.
Yeah, that honestly, that is the thing. Like, the meat and potatoes part of it is a little loosey-goosey. Like I said, I think, honestly, the onboarding is a little weird. Like, so there is a beginner mode of a beginner version of the perimeter map, which is supposed to have lower server pop. Apparently, people were not getting out of that fast enough, and that's where some of the PvP complaints were, because those are literally lower population versions of the map. That's very weird to me, because you can get out of beginner in 2 runs if you don't die. You have to just complete the two step of Welcome to Tau Ceti 4, like the 2 intro contracts, and then you can never go back to beginner again, at least in the beta. Like, honestly, I kind of feel like the beginner lower pop map should last you longer, and you should get access to your starting contract a little faster. Because, like I said, that I feel like is the thing that's going to suck people in, is, like, giving them different contracts, giving them different objectives to fulfill, showing them the different factions and the different kind of, like, face NPCs that you can work on, right? Like, that's going to keep people playing. But you can get your ass absolutely trashed. Lucky and I both know this, because trying to unlock New Cal is fucking.
I tried multiple times. I made it to the building every time. I was not able to get into the building once.
No, because the fucking building in Columns is also a death trap. It's surrounded by tick nests outside. All the doors are sealed.
And if you make too much of a ruckus, make too much of a ruckus,
the UASC will come by.
Will go up. And they'll drop on top of the building! They did this multiple times!
Sometimes my approaches to that building have been covered by UESC sentry turrets, like, randomly.
Man, I remember one run that ended, I got stopped by a single turret, and this is after me dumping a fucking, a semi-automatic rifle into it.
No, they're they're tough. crit damage is like very key if you can get it. Like headshots. Those some of those fuckers have shields. They'll soak them up. Those sentry guns also will take a decent amount of fire. Like usually what I see is I go around them or I tack cloak walk by them. Since I've been soloing, I've been playing a decent amount of assassin.
I like assassin.
But yeah, no, and what you do, Lucky, when you clear that objective is you, like I said, the doors are all locked, so you got to go on the roof, punch open a vent, turn the power back on in that building, and then kill a bunch more tick nests inside that little prefab.
All of them with them infinitely spawning ticks. I'm pretty sure tick nests spawn.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're infinite until you kill them. They are like they have a range set they spawn at, and they like have a interval. You know, they have a period of time before they spawn again. But yeah, they'll keep puking them out. And then, like I said, then you turn on the power, and then you actually like do the objective. Luckily, once you clear the building, it's pretty easy because like I was a little worried because it's like uploaded on a nearby terminal. The terminal's literally behind the thing you pick up. So like that's nice, but it's still out there. And obviously, like you don't have to extract after doing that. You could go down and still complete the contract. But like ideally, if you found anything useful and valuable, you want to then extract after all that shit. So it's like, yeah, like the contracts can be very, very long form. The fucking Traxxas contract, one wants you to go to Dire Marsh, which is supposed to be the tougher map. But also, I have been to Dire Marsh, and I've poked around in the areas where the terminals are supposed to be. I still haven't seen the step one of a 3-step all-in-one run contract. Like I said, so onboarding players feels like a little daunting, and it's like, obviously, Bungie, you're allowed to have your own creative vision. You can figure it out. I would feel like if you're trying to make a multiplayer shooter type thing, where you want a lot of players, you would want the intro to be smooth. You want to hydroplane players in and hope that they decide to stick around and engage. But that is kind of not what Bungie's doing. I will say that makes it seem like it's pretty easy for players to try out the SummerSlam or the Server Slam. I keep wanting to saying SummerSlam like it's a fucking wrestling event. But like it does seem like it's pretty easy for you to try out the Server Slam and go, nah, it's not for me. Like Lucky has done.
No, like come launch and maybe like whatever like patches. I'll probably take a look at it again and hear reviews. But the game like as is, like the balance as is, it's not for me. Now, like I said, I don't want to say Bungie's a bad game. There's some decisions that I don't like, but like as always, gunplay felt pretty good. How much damage I was doing to things is another thing, but I'm gonna be real. I'm shooting, giant militarized robots. If they go down easy, they wouldn't be giant militarized robots.
Yeah, no, they got hands. I mean, and like, they will get your ass, but like, they're not, most of them are not armed with like killer app guns, right? They have usually the Volt pistol most of the time.
No, they're just really, they're not afraid, and they'll fucking get your ass if you're like...
That, actually, Lucky, you've done it, yes. The UESC bots, which are, they are, by lore, they are autonomous robot units. They do not possess a fear of death. They are not alive. So, they can and will chase your ass down.
Yeah. So, like, no, they have hands, and, if it was just the robots, was problem, I would probably deal with that. But again, the constant tension that I have to worry about a player just fucking ganking my ass for no other reason that I exist just takes me completely out. Like, if there was actually like some sort of objective to actually cap in my ass that made it worthwhile, I'd probably be a little bit more understanding, but I am literally a noob-ass motherfucker with nothing but the most basic-ass kit, no backpack, no gear, no slots, nothing but fucking a dirty toothpaste I found in the bathroom 3 buildings ago. And they decided to cap my ass anyway?
I have 4 empty med coolers in my pocket. And somebody's old Starbucks order.
And, like, they still find the need to come and, end my day. I'm like, no, that is not it. Like, the game's supposed to be PvPvE. I'm like, I'd like to focus, like, I don't necessarily mind if there is, like, like I said, there is that, that, oh, is he gonna get me or not? But when the default is to shoot first, ask questions later, that's like, no, that completely takes me fucking out.
Yeah, no, like I said, and that's probably a thing that, like you were talking about, you would want to sit back and wait to see, like, what the player base actually shakes out to be.
Yeah.
Like, I am pretty confident that at this stage, I do want to play the Slam more to see if I can unlock all the factions and kind of see what their dealio is. Like I was saying, to unlock Arachne, you need to down, not kill a runner, so you may get rewarded for downing a runner. I don't know. You might get rep that way, or you might not. You can get a new cal rep by just harvesting plants.
Oh, you can harvest plants?
Yeah, there are some plants like sparkleaf and stuff like on the map. It seems to be semi-random when they spawn, but yeah, they're like a medium tier valuable, and you get when you have new Cal unlocked, you get a little tiny bit. You get like 5 rep for picking them up, just on pickup, stuff like that. Like Mida experience is mostly earned through like you get Mida experience for opening lock boxes and recovering certain kinds of loot and like going after like high priority, like really fucking up the UESC shit. But you don't get Mida rep for just shooting USC bots. They might have contracts for that, but you don't get like rep from them for doing it. So like I don't know like what they're gonna be. Probably the same for like Traxxas, and like absolutely no idea what Sekaguchi genetics is gonna be about, So like, but yeah, it seems like the kind of thing where like I think I can probably get what I want out of it even on my own, just minding my own beeswax. You probably want to sit back and wait to see what the community shakes out, or like I said, if they decide to do more like PvE type challenges. Remember, this is Bungie, and obviously the Destiny 2 team is probably still at Destiny, but like those guys design like MMO-ass raid mechanics into their first-person Space Wizard shooter. Like, they have PvE chops. Honestly, I don't know if maybe the more focus on the PvP stuff was they're trying to like, they try to break out and do some new things, I've always kind of heard that Destiny PvP is kind of, whatever. It exists, but it's not necessarily doing anything real, new and different most of the time. So like I said, I don't know. Honestly, I'm glad you decided to give a second crack today to kind of like formalize your opinion. I was pretty sure it was not a game for you yesterday when we were playing together. And I honestly, I think I in my head, I was thinking about why that would be, because we are, like I said, I think the game's for me. I think. But it's not for Lucky. Lucky, as a player and as a person, you don't like to be beholden to other people for your fun. That includes both cooperatively and competitively. You don't want your success in this video game to rely on, like you said, some other guy out there not having an itchy trigger finger, whether or not he's spooked or whether or not he's just mean, Mm-hmm. You don't want your decision to be reliant on some other guy you can't control making a decision. Like, obviously it sucks to get trashed by UESC, but our next thing I want you to talk about is you Platinum Nioh 3. So, like, you're not averse to playing difficult video games against computers.
No.
It's just the idea that there's a guy out there who holds your fate in his hands and he can just decide to be a doofus. And, like, not even, like you said, not even necessarily intentionally. Like, they're not getting anything out of it. He might have just be like, there is another man, pull trigger. Me, I'm pull trigger man.
No. But, no, it is definitely that, because, like, that isn't to say I can't play, competitive online games, but I think there is a difference between playing a competitive game in which, my objective is to get out alive, rather than the objective is to kill as many of the other dude as possible. There is a distinct difference in those types of games. And, like I said, because I can play, like, they're not my favorite, and, I'm definitely not good at them, but, I can play me a Titanfall 2, I can play me, a Call of Duty if I had a couple friends in, because, like I said, I'm not good at those games. I'm just genuinely not good at those games, but I can have fun if I'm playing with my friends, because guess what? The goal in those games is quite literally to, shoot dudes and hold points. That's it. That's all you gotta really worry about. So if you go die on like half a dozen times, well, get good, son. That's the point. But when the objective of the game is for me to, go complete an objective and get out, usually with a bag of loot, the fact that I have to worry about, like, I guess I've talked about this many times, but I have to worry about some other dude as part of the equation, just gives me way too much tension. Way too much.
Honestly, like I said, I was worried about the tension for me. Like, I had some really spooky runs as Rook, the kind of scavenger mode, and I was like, is it going to be another, like, alien isolation situation? Am I going to be too stressed to play this video game? And not really. Rook runs are still really scary, because, like, I don't know, man. There's something about going into a vibe, and so, actually, I should explain. Rook is a special shell. This is another thing that I think is bad for onboarding. You have to be season level 3 to start playing Rook games. I think you should actually be able to do it at any level, because it feels like it's a much more free form to fuck around in, because Rook is a shell that you cannot control your loadout at all. You get a random gun, you get like a green level, like a level 2 shield, and like, some kind of passive buff. You don't get to control the loadout. The Rook has very limited abilities. You can do a disguise so that UESC guys do not aggro on you as easily. They will still shoot you if you get like right up in their grill, but you can walk by them at a range. And you get a self-regen as your ultimate ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what Rook does is, when you choose to go as Rook, you can only go solo. You cannot crew fill or queue with groups. Rooks are inserted into pre-existing maps after some people have left, whether they've died or extracted. So, and you can't do contracts as Rook. You can earn faction rep, but you can't do contracts. It is purely for scavenging mode. But like I said, there is something very eerie about dropping into a marathon map and going, oh hey, there's only 15 minutes left. Wonder what's been going on for 10 minutes. There's still, both extraction zones are up. How's it been going here? And like, you are not in a fresh, unbroken world, right? So like, it's a little freaky. It's very tense. It's so weird to me because like, this is the reflex I don't have with like Souls-likes, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, it really bothers me when I die and I lose all my souls. There's something about the way Marathon is of just how, maybe it's because there's no like walk of shame after or whatever, but like, just the game being like, do not be afraid. You have died before, you will die again. I'm just like, that's it, I'm locked in. I will die. I have died before, I will die again. Oh, Jimbo Slice, shot me on the steps. Whatever. You cannot kill me in a way that matters. Bye. Hit give up before they can even finish me off themselves so they don't get the satisfaction. We go again, Like, I don't know what it is, but it does not bother me, which is like different for me. But it is like we said, we are just out there. Honestly, yeah, no. There's not really gotchas or gimmies in Marathon. UESC guys are loud. You can hear them stomping around. Like, occasionally I've opened a door and been like, oh shit, there's a guy there. Usually I immediately close the door. But like, usually you can hear him coming. Like, that's the thing. I don't feel like Marathon's trying to fucking get me in the same way that a Souls-like is like with the ads, right? Like, those ads will absolutely clean my clock. Most of them don't start, like, it's not like, how would I say this? Like, I don't know if this video game exists, but it's not like they're not like hunters, right? Like, they're not automatically out for your blood. When you spawn in the Marathon map, nobody is trying to kill you. Usually. I did run up on a guy who was still standing at spawn and killed him, but like, that was just bad luck for him. I think Nioh is a little less about trying to get you. Nioh's still trying to get you, but usually its tells are pretty, at least Nioh 1 anyway. Like I said, I don't know where 3's at, but Nioh's usually pretty obvious with its tells. Go around a corner to cave, there's a bunch of bats, the bats are going to jump out at you. Guess what? That's what they're going to do. The bats are you've learned that the bats do that, the bats are going to jump at you. You can see the spooky shit on the floor where an Oni's going to spawn or something. Like, I've tried most of From's, a decent number of FromSoft titles. Those games, they're trying to get you. Not always the same thing, like I talk about the skeletons around blind corners. That's honestly a fairly rare move, but they'll pull that. They'll pull the old, rolling a ball down a hill on you. FromSoft loves for you to go up like a ramp or a set of stairs and have something above you so a guy jumps down in front of you on the stairs you didn't know about, or drops down behind you. Sometimes that guy's very large. They love to have, you be funneled into moments by being like, oh, you thought you could walk this way? No, there's 10,000 ballista guys here. So it's not just you can't go this way, it's also, how dare you go this way, fucking die. Like I said, Marathon doesn't feel quite the same way with that. It's dangerous, it's tense, but like I said, it's just, if I die in 5 minutes, I die in 5 minutes, whatever, we go again,
I think you just have I think you're just more conditioned to play FPS games where dying is part of the course and just going.
Yeah, I think I have kind of cut my teeth on multiplayer FPS games more. I've played some team deathmatch on Call of Duty before, and done the thing where you spawn, you run 5 feet, a guy sprints up behind you and shoots you with a grenade tube in the back. It don't bother me no more.
Ooh, excuse me.
And that's people are wired differently. Like I said, that's why I say I think Marathon's for me, because it's like, I like kind of what the game is doing, and even when I don't like it, I'm not hating it or hating myself. But I am definitely feel like I am approaching this way in a different way than people are talking about it, at least. Like I said, I have no bloodthirsty urge. The only reason why I think I want to pop runners is because I have a contract about it,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. We can be an opportunist. If a guy, like, literally is, like, puts his face in my gun brackets, I'm gonna be like, well, this guy's looking right at me with his gun in my sights. But there are other times when I've, like, had a guy dead to rights, but it's been kind of, like, non-optimal, and I've just been like, hey buddy, I'm just gonna stand here and be like, hey, I could be shooting you right now. Do you feel like fucking off? And sometimes people do, but a lot of times people shoot at me. And like I said, oftentimes people try and chase your ass down. But yeah. Anything else you want to say about Marathon?
No, I think I've gotten some of my points out. Like I said, I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Like, because if I remember correctly, the data's not getting transferred over to the new game, the original game anyway. You might get some nice little goodies, though.
No, you'll get some depending on your season progress. It's called, season EXP, which is, like, to clarify, by the way, is not like a battle pass thing. It's just that, like, that's another thing that extraction shooters do, is they are technically in seasons. They are intended to eventually reset you, because hypothetically you could get to a point where, like, everybody just has, 9 billion copies of legendary items, if you let it run indefinitely. So there are resets built in, but there is season EXP that you can accrue. You'll get some starting season EXP and some unlocks if you go to the base game. So yeah, like it's a keep an eye on kind of a thing. But if you are down to talk about it, you platinumed Nioh 3.
Yeah, no, I beat it. I beat it yesterday. Beat the final boss. Saved Japan again, and had a good time. Hooray! So Nioh 3, it's a hard game. Not the hardest game, but it's definitely a hard game. Bosses, but I'm somewhat curious if, like, the reason why I may have had a time is because I did not engage with, like, literally half of the mechanic that the game presented to me. Because Nioh 3, if anything, actually, not all weapons are equal. If I'm going by anything that, online players, everyone is fucking using either claws or tonfas. I see so many claw and tonfa users in the fucking game. It's nuts.
I mean, are those new for 3? So is it like the new hotness kind of a thing?
Oh no, tonfas were back in 2 at the very least.
Okay.
Claws, I don't know if claws were. I think claws are new. Yeah, claws. I think claws and cestises are new for 3. I think. But
I don't. I still personally, I'm just like claws. I'm like, I don't know, man. I wouldn't. You could probably do some cool stuff, but I've played Nioh 1. I don't know if I'd trust my life to fist weapons.
Well, apparently they're pretty good, because one of the things I did when I wanted to get my grind on is I would just go do be a visitor, and I just go help people with their own boss runs and stuff. And I see a lot of claw and tampon users out there, people just trying to slice shit up. Saw a couple, like, dual swords in there, but they were always, like, it's one of those things that, like, slightly disgusts me about, such things as the meta. You'll see a person, like, pick a certain loadout, and then they'll just do one thing over and over and over and over again. Just for, like, the high damage numbers. Also, in the fact that, like, Lucky was getting slightly annoyed when I'd be summoned to a guy, and they hadn't even tried the boss on their own yet. They got to the boss, and was like, time to summon people. I'm just all like, you're not even gonna attempt it on your own? For shame.
Yeah, not even gonna see?
Yeah, no, because when they do that, you know why they know that? Because the cutscene plays. If no cutscene plays, they've tried it already. If cutscene plays, this means this is their first attempt. I'm just all like, and every time I'm just all like, shame, shame, shame.
Yeah, like even for like if your game allows like NPC summons, usually those are like semi or NPC allies. Some of those are like semi unique to those kinds of things, but inviting another player, it's like, I don't know. That does seem a little like
no, like for myself, I only like actually summoned like actual PC once, just because I was curious on like how it worked. I'm like, how does this actually work? I did that, and that's how I beat Ibaraki Doji the first time. I was not shy about using the blue swords, the NPC ones, like at all, because they were just NPCs, and like I said, they have nerf damaged, and nerfed abilities. So generally, they're just best for drawing away attention. Which I fucking needed because I like playing ninja, and the thing that ninja is you get extra damage from hitting the back. Do you know how hard it is to hit an enemy's back when they're constantly looking at you?
Hi, welcome to Souls-likes. At least in terms of boss design.
It's like, yes, I have abilities and moves and stuff, but sometimes this is a character action game. You have to pull off specific combos and times to do that, and that's hard. I'm giving shame to those people because they did not try, Axe. If you try a boss and go, okay, this is too far for me, I need help. Fine, fair. But if you don't even know what the boss is, and you're like, bring me help, I'm like, and like, give me help, I'm all like, you are intentionally handicapping the experience for that. Like this on top of people doing this who then skip cutscenes.
if they don't
like,
have, like, so the cutscene plays and then they skip it, and it's like, I don't know, that seems like you're not engaging with the full breadth of the video game. Like, obviously, we talked a lot about this in our Discord earlier about, like, the online, like, capabilities of FromSoft's game specifically, but they set the tone for a lot of Souls-likes. I think there is room, and there is often a underserved demand for, like, actual, like, friend co-op in these types of games, because people do actually, honestly, you brought it up earlier, right? Like, talking about, like, how, you'd play certain kinds of games even if they're not your thing if we can jaw with friends. Like,
yeah.
I think a lot of people will put up with stuff that's not necessarily their 100% strike zone if they can jaw with buddies at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Like, actually doing, like strong cooperative stuff is cool. But until very recently, I want to say, a lot of these games are kind of averse to let you just straight up team up.
Like, you can team up in Nioh 3, but I think they're called, like, specifically, like, expeditions. I don't know if it's just, like, main story progress. I'm not sure.
Yeah, like, usually these things are kind of limited, and we've talked about this, like co-oping in FromSoft games previously are usually, like, you can usually get 1 or 2 summoned allies, but then that usually opens you up to some number of enemy invasions as well, and there are a couple of oddball things. But, like, assuming that, like, it is, I assume, a separate mechanic to call for help on a boss, right?
Yeah, no, there's 2 things you can do. Like, well, I guess 3, there's 3 ways to get help. You can use a blue sword, which summons an NPC revenant. It basically has the class and loadout of the thing, but the character, but it's controlled by AI. 2, you can summon a visitor using the Ochoko cups, which will summon the shade of 1 to 2 players that'll assist you. And third, but that's random, completely random. And thirdly is you can do expeditions, which lets you do a mission, which is basically doing a mission in a specific area, but you get to go with your friends.
A stage, but at least a common boss. That's better than most of these games, but yeah, that's still kind of chaotic.
Like, so you can't just go running throughout the open fields. You have to be in a mission with, like, a specific boss to kill.
I think that kind of makes sense for, like, the idea that you're not just necessarily, like, farming to farm, like, more efficiently by getting more people in, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But also does kind of feel like it misses out on something. Like I said, Elden Ring's seamless co-op mod is super popular for a reason.
Yeah. But,
I think, like, I have not obviously played all the way, I'm not at Nioh 3. I'm on the second boss in Nioh number 1, and I admit I have not felt a huge draw to go back in there and try it out. But also, I don't, like, hate it. It's something I could do still. But, like, I do kind of agree that, like, it is a mechanic you can do, but it definitely seems like you don't know if you need help if you're just summoning randoms at the boss fight, No,
like, it's like I said, if you, like, try a boss a few times and you feel like, oh man, I'm never gonna fucking get this, summon visitors and stuff. But like I said, I played the whole game just using ninja. I never used samurai. I literally never used samurai. I didn't even unlock the samurai tab in the titles thing until, like, super late game when I realized one of the achievements was I had to kill 10 enemies using the samurai martial arts. That's when that unlocked. And I was using the Kasaragama, which, I'm gonna be real, is not a real optimal weapon. It's great for hitting things widely, but against single targets, it kind of sucks. But I beat the game using just Ninja Kasaragama, and like I said, there were several bosses that took me, like, 5 to 10 times. But I did it. God, like, what was some of the hard ones? The final boss is hard, but not as hard as you think. Like I said,
this was the thing I wanted to bring up earlier, like, with the comparison to Marathon. It's not that you're averse to hard games. It's just that, like I said, Marathon has that online aspect. But, like, nah, you were willing to put in the time with Nioh 3, and you did platinum it, so, like, that's what we call completion, baby. You did the things.
No, like as you said, I do not like my fate hanging on someone else's interactions. If I have a bag full of loot, no. But, or I'm trying to get an objective, just, no. But, like, the game, Nioh 3 is a game that, like, it doesn't want to waste your time, I think is the way I want to say it. Like, they're very generous with, backdoors, shortcuts, and ways back to things. Like, generally as the game ramps up, the amount you get to, the amount of, Amrita, or, spirit stone juice that you get generally ramps up. So even if you're you're like in the 140 plus, you need 2 million to, get to the next level. As long as you're in the area, you'll get 2 million, like, not too hard. And it's like, and if you lose it, it's not that big a deal to get it back. So like, I never feel like my time is wasted doing stuff. Like, I think one of the things I really did like about Nioh 3 is because they have the open field search. They had, the ye old open world collectibles collecting mechanic. But, what they do is every time you enter a map, each map you have 4 levels, and as you find collectibles, more things would show up. Like, level 1 would show you just the map. It would, like, take off the fog of war, so you could see the whole map. Level 2 would give you, like, well, it goes up to 4 levels, and each level will reveal more and more collectibles, so the more you find, the more that show up. So, you're not just wandering around the dark looking for things, but you might still, like, have stumble on something on its own, or if you like explore enough, the game will be just like, all right, here you go, you explored enough, here's the rest of the things. The only problem with that is that there's one area where there's 3 Kodama that are hidden because the area doesn't have that. I had to use a guy for that one because I couldn't figure out where like the 92nd and 93rd Kodamas were. It sucked. So like exploring was fun, going around the sun. I kind of wish there was more story, I want to say. Like, especially with living people, most of the missions in the game are done with dead people. I do not know how Japan has survived in the modern times when it seems like every, 100 years, their population is decimated. It's fucking wild.
Well, some of that, I think, harkens to real life, but also, now that you're saying it, Japanese media is not afraid of that. That most of the Godzilla movies, there are periods where Godzilla movies were in continuity, and I've watched some of them, and he really fucks their shit up a lot.
Yeah, you undo the Crucianite, you don't undo the untold death and property damage. Also Crucianite calling the Crucible is really fucking weird. There's like 3 levels of like the Crucible they call it, but it's just 3 different versions of fucking Buddhist hell. It's like a hot hell, a cold hell, and a needle hell. Again, I feel like this is one of those things where I feel like localization is being fucking weird for no other reason than being fucking weird. Like, I guess they couldn't just call it straight up hell, but actually, I bet they couldn't call it just straight up hell for reasons. But so no, like I had fun. I think one of the big drawbacks of, well, it's not necessarily a drawback, but it takes a bit of investment, is because your character stats influences how much damage your weapons do. You are usually like pushed into doing a like certain type of weapons and stuff, and it's very hard to multi-class, I would say, out of it. Like, because I used the Kasaragama a lot, my big stats in Nioh 3 were skill, magic, and constitution. And that really doesn't, perfectly translate to any other weapon. Like, ninja swords kind of worked in there, and regular swords, and Odachis kind of worked. And there are things you can do to change out things, but like I said, it's very hard to spread out your skill sets, and, experiment with things, especially since there are a limited, well, I don't know if there's a limited number, but by the time in the game, I was able to basically finish off 2 paths on both Samurai and Ninja, and was able to start working on a 3rd. Maybe if you're more pick and choosy about the moves and you want to do and stuff, you can spread out more, but the game gives you a lot of flexibility, and like I said, you can just respec for free at any point in the game. You can respec your levels, you can respec your abilities in Nioh 3. Good. Yeah. So you can try out different things, but like I said, I spent a lot of time playing Kasaragama, and I was real used to it, so it makes it really hard for me to go out and try other things. Like, even though, I was carrying, like, the ninja sword, and I wanted to do, the split staff as well, and I wanted to use, fucking Ibaraki Doji's Adachi, but like I said, I had to go back to my old faithful, the Kasaragama, because guess what? I beat Nioh 1 with a Kasaragama, I beat Nioh 2 with a Kasaragama, and boy howdy, I was gonna beat Nioh 3 with Kasaragama. And I did it.
Yeah, you're locked in. If they're not changing the play too much, that you feel the need to switch. That's fair.
They did it interesting with ninja style. Like, what they did is they took a bunch of moves from like the Kasaragama's like stances and just made them like commands I had to put in. Like, like, I remember using, low stance Kasaragama because it would have this move where you would just basically spin the sickle and wait, like, real close to you, do a lot of hits. That move's still in Nioh 3. It's just, you just have to hold triangle for it. Oh, I use the chain weight. Excuse me. It took me a second to think about it. Mr. Gark for it because, like I said, I do a lot of quick melee attacks. Do a miss to try and get around them and keep doing quick melee attacks. If you do that, you are very less likely to run out of ki. Unless I was able to hit them with the Status Stitch ability, which I fucking loved. I'm so glad they had this. Basically, you just throw a fucking knife and it's not paralysis. It's just, they are just stuck for like 2 seconds, which is usually enough time to stop them from doing whatever the fuck they are doing and get out of there. Like, I have like both of my accessories are like Status Stitch stock +1. Because normally, because the way that Nioh 3 works is you have to hit enemies to charge up your fucking ninjutsu, and then you can only hold so much ninjutsu. The Status Stitch, you get a maximum of 1. And I was just like, and I got an accessory that said Status Stitch max stock +1. And I got a second one. I'm like, yeah, I can hold 3 of these things and just tell the boss to no 3 times? Let's go. It was great.
Oh, and
I
also,
loved it.
that was a discourse I think that happened like last week or maybe earlier this week, but people talking about like status effects on bosses. Like, they gave you a extremely limited, consumable resource that you had to improve a couple of times by using some of your slots on, and then like, yeah, you can use the shit on bosses. It's like, oh, that's so good. It really sounds like Nioh 3's game design philosophy was, we're not fucking around.
But neither are you.
Like, we'll beat your ass, but we're not gonna like stall you out. Whatever, man.
No, like,
free respects, powerful like status conditions. That's good. That's
like,
good game design.
Yeah, no, like bosses, you can, well, it's harder, but you can put things like poison, paralysis, and stuff. But you know what I fucking loved? I always loved using Onmyoji magic to just be like, this boss is now slowed for like 15 seconds. He is a fucking molasses. Defense down, attack down. You can't recover ki. I can just throw that on them, and it works.
Oh, that's so good. Like, I've talked about this before. I think you've mentioned this about Nioh previously as well, but I've talked about this before that like, FromSoft bosses, like, there's usually a handful each game who are like hyper specifically vulnerable to like 1 or 2 status effects so that you can, cheese on them a little. Like, bleed is usually pretty strong, so there are certain bosses, if they don't have like built-in bleed resistance, you can do some funny stuff like that. There might be guys who are weak to like frost or fire or like poisoning. But like actual classic status effects, like debuff mezzing is like really cool, and I'm glad when games do more of that because I like utility.
Oh no. There's something great in Nioh 3 because Nioh 3 introduces skills where you collect manuals and you make a little build of skills. They got something, it's a mastery, so you can, if you equip this one, you can't equip any other thing. But it has a mastery that's like, you do more Onmyoto or ninjutsu damage the more debuffs are on an enemy. And I'm just like,
that's
yeah.
Okay, so that's build around, so that's encourageable. That's really neat.
No, like it's really good. And like I said, like ever since Nioh 1, I've always done a ninjutsu Onmyoto build. Like, I've never been like, I don't know, maybe it's just because, I like being like, doing the weird stuff, like doing ninjutsu and magic, like ninja magic. So, putting together such a build was like easy for me. And like I said, the Kasaragama is built around those stats anyway. So it was like, it was kind of perfect. Excuse me. But I always felt like, no matter what kind of person you want to build, if you build it properly, you can achieve that. This is the problem I feel like with some other, like, FromSoft games and stuff. I feel like if you're not, like, trying to rock, like, specific sets or stuff, you're not gonna get anywhere in the game. Like...
Yeah, I don't know if necessarily, like, modern FromSoft games have, like, bad options as such, but there are definitely suboptimal builds and always have been. Like, there are times where it feels like, depending on the game, like, it is not viable to go as heavy onto magic for certain magic casting stats because, like, until the DLC comes out, there's just not enough good spells that do stuff, No,
like, I can definitely say, like, in Nioh, there are maybe, like, some sub-meta builds and stuff, but as long as you're, like, rubbing 2 brain cells together and you go, yes, this stat scales up this weapon. If I put points in this weapon, I do good at this weapon. Generally, you can, make progress in the game. Like I said, like, Kasaragama is much better for, wide, for hitting, like, multiple enemies and stuff. So, it's not that great against bosses. But like I said, I still was able to get in there and fucking, beat the game. and like on it. So I think like I said, Neo's like flexibility and forgiveness, I want to say, and build, because like I said, I hit like 146, 147. If I wanted to, I can like dump all the points that I put into my levels, dump all the points I put into skills, and just pick something new and completely different and try something else if I had felt like something had been working. And I did respec several times as I was trying to, fine tune the thing. Like always skill and magic were my highest because, that's what Micah Saragama was dependent on. But, I had to put in, 5 points here so I can get my dodge rank the highest. I had to put 5 points here so I can activate effects on my armor and stuff, so, and, I was like always considering how deep it is, how much higher, because, there is diminishing returns in the game, like as you go higher and higher. You just do not get a flat linear, progression in that. So at some point, it doesn't pay as much.
Flattens.
At some point, the curve flattens, but, that's, where other parts of the build came in, like, because something that I love so much about Nioh 3 is that you can soul match, reforge, and remodel weapons and armor. So, soul match basically means that you pay gold and a resource, and you can increase the level of your equipment up to, like, your level. I believe it is. I basically got, like, and since I was running niches, I basically got the, Iga Jonin set, fairly early because other people were walking it, and one of the things I did early game was I would just farm revenants for their shit because players usually have the best shit. Ta-da! So I was able to construct an entire set of exotic Iga Jonin set along with the weapons, and from level 60 to like level 120, I used that same set, just slowly leveling up the entire time just to keep it current with anything. Which was good because the other natural way to do that is to either I get the foraging manual, which I had to beat. You have to beat a veteran mission for it to do, which I was nowhere near. I didn't realize it at the point. Or I have to like work on getting drops from either other revenants or enemies. The problem with the other revenants or enemies though are their level is based on the area. So I want to be able to get higher level stuff until I go there. And like I said, drop rates are weird like that. Remodeling is actually pretty neat too, because when you remodel, you can actually take a weapon and swap around its parameter stats so that it uses other ones. So you, instead of like, if you wanted to use like a split staff and you didn't want it to use fucking magic, intellect, and something else, you can switch it to, well, like my usual Kasaragama of skill, intellect, and constitution if I wanted to. The unfortunate thing is the Iga Jonin set takes 7 slots out of 7, so I didn't have a space to try in a different weapon, so I didn't get to fuck around with that. Remodeling is because this is, a loot-based game. Basically all gear has random modifiers on it depending on the rarity. Mm-hmm. Remodeling basically lets you take gear and change the modifiers on it to something else that you like. I believe in Nioh 1 and Nioh 2, the effects were more random, but in Nioh 3, you can actually pick them as long as like certain requirements are met. I'm not entirely sure of those requirements. I think you can have like one from each category, and some armor pieces or weapons can only have like certain ones on it. So like you can take, just any old equipment, as long as like any old equipment, and build it as something that's your taste, as long as you put in time and effort for it. And like I said, I put in the time and effort. This game came out beginning of the month?
Yeah, basically.
First week in February?
Something like that, yeah.
And I've been putting in an ungodly amount of Star Sector time, but I've put, looks like 160 hours into Nioh.
Nice.
In 3. So, like, yeah, I did a lot of grinding to make sure that my gear was current and didn't just throw it away when I got something slightly shinier.
But honestly,
committed to a relationship.
The thing that's really neat about that is that you can do that, and I think that is one of the selling points of Nioh over some other Souls-like games, because, like, Nioh, as a series, borrows Souls-like mechanics. Like I said, this playing Nioh 1, it's like, this game is very clearly influenced by what was hip in the Souls-like zone.
Hips in the Souls.
But they are coming from a different route, and they definitely have some different stuff, and it really feels like For Nioh 3, the team was listening to a lot of people talking about kind of like the drawbacks of a game like Elden Ring, which is like, okay, so Elden Ring's cool, but like, it requires a lot of time out of you, no matter what, and you can't necessarily, like, depending on how things are, you can kind of pick, like, some item sets and go with them, and you can scale up weapons. I do think that usually there are caps to improving weapons in FromSoft games where, like, you will probably want a later game weapon at some point, but armor is definitely kind of, like, all over the place in those games usually.
No, because, see, this is the thing that I liked about Nioh 3, because I'm basically running a dodge build. I do not block. Guard button, what is that? But, even though I am, a dodge god, I still get fucking smacked. I'm wearing the lightest ass fucking armor. One of the things that I did is I was able to, remodel my armor so that it got a bit better defense. I just increased the item requirements for it, which was fine. And then I swapped out a skill which basically said defense increase based upon skill. And I put that on all my fucking armor. And it jacked up my armor super, like, not super high, but super high for, light armor. So, I can take, so I could take a couple hits, wearing it. And stuff. So, like I said, Nioh 3 is, like, super customizable in what it can do. And that really helps when you're trying to get, like, things done. Like, now, I know they got 2 DLC planned, so I don't know, like, what my goal is exactly. If I'm just gonna, like, maybe I'll keep it installed, grind it out here and there, get in there, because they do unlock a new difficulty, and they have the next tier of gear, because they unlock the Shogun difficulty, and you get special green equipment and stuff. So, there is an end game to Nioh 3 that I could go participate in, but I'm not sure. Maybe I need to go get some games off my backlog.
Probably. And I mean, you obviously, like you said, not that that's the end, but you did clock in the platinum, so.
I did clock in the platinum, so I probably will wait till, like, I don't know if I might get the season pass. Maybe I'll get the season pass and I'll just wait for it and then get back into it then, but there's a lot of games on my backlog that I actually do need to get through. But no, I do heartily recommend Nioh 3. Like I said, I wouldn't say play it if you're a fan of Soulsborns, but play it if you're a fan of character action games like Devil May Cry and Ninja Gaiden. I did hear that Ninja Gaiden 4 is getting a DLC expansion, expanding on the story content and whatnot. So that does remind me I need to pick it up.
It's good for them
at some point. Oh, excuse me, Jesus. But I think that's enough on Nioh. Yeah. But yeah, no, Nioh 3 is hard and challenging, but not unforgiving, I think, is the end verdict I want to say there.
Yeah. That kind of I think seems like from even my experience with the philosophy all the way back in Nioh 1, that kind of seems like the idea is, like, they will absolutely kick your ass, but you still have the potential to kind of figure it out and move forward. And it just sounds like with Nioh 3, they've just added more stuff that you can do and kind of streamlined the whole process. Like, yeah. I almost want to say top to bottom. Like, obviously you went hyper-focused on, your tried and true, and you won out. Other people are like, oh, this claw shit's new, let me go in on that. Stuff like that. Like, but there's plenty of opportunity to get into stuff, and, like, you probably don't have to do the thing that you talked about where, like, you pick a skill to, like, do extra, multiply your damage or effectiveness by status effects, so you do the status effect wombo combo. You can probably just unga bungus and be like, what is your large? I would like your largest damage number, sir. But there's flexibility for that, and again, the respeccing anytime you like. Chef's kiss. Love that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's I feel like always the worry I have with, like, the classic FromSoft style Souls likes. Not just their games, but, like, all in that style. Just like, what if I get halfway through the game and I realize that, like, I don't want to be a strength main anymore? What if I find a cool weapon that scales with some other stat?
No, I definitely feel that as well. But no, like I said, my next big game is probably going to be Pragmata, which comes out in a couple months. I got basically all of March and most of April to deal with that. So I'm definitely going to try and get some of my backlog done. Like, I'm thinking it might be time for me to actually pop into Clair Obscura.
Sorry, I'm nodding silently. The people at home can't see that. That'd be interesting. It is an experience. So I'm also not afraid to kick your ass a little.
RE9 will be on the list once I get done with RE8.
Yeah, we're working our way through the Resident Evil backlog.
Yeah.
Lucky still has never played RE 7 or 8, so.
And I also want to see if I can get like the revelations then, and maybe some of the side games in too. Because like I said, I've beaten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which it's a lot of games in the franchise. Which you would think is a lot of games in the franchise. It's not a lot of games in the franchise.
No, it's a classic video game franchise. That's nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's at least revelations. There's like Code Veronica, but I don't even know if you can play Code Veronica good.
I'll look into it.
That's one that I hear a lot of people are like, you know what Resident Evil game really needs a remake? Code Veronica.
Yeah, so Revelations 2 is co-opable.
We can keep our eyes peeled for that. It's man, Resident Evil 6 is a trip. Ending Leon's campaign with hey Monster Hunter, can we copy your homework? They really should copy their homework the other way. Where's Leon in Monster Hunter? He'd have some quips. But then we actually got started on the Chris campaign last stream time, and
God, the story has already taken such a downhill.
It's so. Sorry, I feel like I'm on the verge of breaking out into a crazy rant, but I should say this: I'm not necessarily a big RE head, gang. I kind of missed the boat when I was younger. I think I've told the story infamously that I got a hand-me-down copy of RE4 on PS2 that was scratched and would not load. And then that's when you're young, that's it, right? You're done. But I've played some of the newer games. People got super excited for 7, so I watched some people play it, and I'm like, this seems neat. I tried the demo for 8, and it's always been kind of on my radar. But also, you and I have been talking about streaming them for a long time, so I have not necessarily gone ahead. But I tried not just tried. I played the hell out of the RE4 remake because it was I never played RE4 as a kid fully, so let me try that shit. Had a great time. They're very good. Watched you off and on, and some other people do the RE2 remake. I've not actually watched anybody do the RE3 remake, but that is how it is. Some people seem disappointed by it. It's not.
Yeah, I remember I started it, but I didn't like.
It doesn't feel as fully fleshed out. But we're on RE6, and it is crazy to me. So you play Leon's campaign. Leon's campaign is already a mess. Why the fuck is Helena here? What's she doing? She's not a terrible character, but she's not a great character either. I feel like the writers couldn't figure out what the fuck they were doing. There's all this back and forth about the two Ada Wongs, but it's so incredibly obvious that there is more than one Ada because one, the campaign tries to be like Chris calls Leon on the radio. It's Leon, Ada Wong is dead, and you're just no bet. I had to throw Wesker in a volcano before he went away. Ada's not dead, one, but also two, the two Ada, they're color coded. RE, one of them's wearing a blue shirt, one of them's wearing a red shirt. This is a video game. She's not changing her shirt in between scenes. That's not how this shit works. If you modeled a second shirt for Ada Wong, you did it for a reason, okay? I see the code. So, there's a lot of dumb stuff in Leon's campaign. Like we said, the second or third chapter of you go to the cathedral and you go into the cathedral and you keep going down makes me feel psychotic. I feel psychotic after watching other people play it. Lucky, we didn't talk about this at all. There are zombies wearing dynamite shirts under the church. Why?
I thought we did talk about it.
Who did that? Did we mention that?
I thought we did mention that.
Maybe we did. It's them having dynamite is crazy enough, but they're strapped with bomb vests. Who did that shit? They're zombies. Why are some of them wearing medieval armor? We're in America.
We definitely talked about that.
We definitely mentioned that, yes, because the bullets bounce off them. It's just what is happening here? What even was that mutant shark seal man? I don't know.
Actually, yeah,
it wasn't a sewer
now that I think about it, usually they have some sort of explanation why some weird thing got weird.
It is, previously established that the various virus weapons do weird things to non-human creatures. There are giant moths and spiders in certain RE titles. There's, whatever the hell's going on in the sewer.
Oh, wait, no, that reminds me. They do somewhat explain it. Fucking, I forgot about this. Cause when we logged out last time, I went and checked out some of the extras, and you can go into the thing, and they have, little lore details. The fucking cathedral is owned by the family, which fucking... I forgot his name already. Simmons.
Yeah.
was a part of, and apparently the cathedral was like part of some ancient, conspiracy of a global superpower that controls the world from the shadows and stuff. It still doesn't explain the mutant shark, but there's probably more information. There's probably more information locked in there. I just, we didn't shoot all the fucking emblems to find it.
Yeah. And also, I want to say, like, on the one hand, I like external lore, but also, like, it's not great to just be like, we'll explain it later off camera, Like, we'll figure out how the plot means later. It's like, okay, but that means when I'm playing the game, like, Simmons does that thing where he's like, no, my family with a capital F. How could they abandon me now that I'm a Battle Cat Centaur man and my ribcage is on the outside? I'm going to fall into the ocean and die, but not really. Bleh.
Oh, God, the fucking...
Like I said, the Leon campaign is crazy. We played like an hour of the Chris campaign, and we instantly felt like we were losing our minds. Chris has amnesia? Or is he just drunk? I don't know.
He has PTSD amnesia, apparently.
Yeah, I think he's suppressing the trauma, but also, like, but that's so weird to be, like, introduced to him drinking to forget, except he's already forgotten in, like, an Eastern European bar.
Especially this is coming off of RE5, where, this man goes like, I'm gonna fight all of Africa for my partner, and I'm just all like, what?
That was the Chris, boulder punching Redfield game. And we got Wesker. He learned to partner again. He saved Jill, but also he learned that Sheva was cool. They did a duo RPG shot. And then he's like, no, my men are dead. Maybe I've suppressed the memory, but they're all dead. Definitely. The vodka.
And then the man's like, we're prepared to bring you back. I'm like, are you sure you want to do that? You want to bring this man who has PTSD amnesia back to a fucking war zone?
And they just throw you right in the war zone. They're like, the bioterrorists have captured UN civilians, but also they're COD zombie men. It's weird. They're really weird. And then they do this, like, the Java or whatever had to be somebody's gameplay pitch. They were like, hey, we've got a system where, like, depending on where you shoot these guys, they, like, react. Like, we'll do our signature, Resident Evil, mutation, like, based on their arms and shit.
I mean, I don't hate it. Like, here's the thing. Like, this is the thing. The mechanics of RE6, I think, are fine. They're a little weird. A little weird in places. Like, the movement is a little weird, and I think some of the key commands are weird. Like, I should just be able to hit X and a button to, like, either dodge or duck or something. I should not have to
you shouldn't be forced to aim to dodge roll, which it seems like you are, and there's a couple of other, like, weird concerns. The inventory is, like, bigger, but it's not infinite, so it's really weird that it's, like, the infinite scroll wheel type shit, Oh,
yeah.
Like, you don't actually see, I think, how many slots you've got, kind of a thing. It's odd. But other times it's, like, satisfying. Like, honestly, as, what's his face? Price?
Yeah.
But, like, they gave me an anti-material rifle, and it's like, I don't think they give me enough bullets, but it's Piers, thank you. Similar.
Piers.
But it's very fun to just whip it out and just be like, oh, hey, there's a Java over there. Bang! He, like, fucking doubles over dead. Like, yeah, no. But, like, it so seems like they designed the mechanics of the Javo first, and then they're like, okay, how do we put this in the game, though? And it's like, storm this building, rescue these hostages.
Like,
you will, Chris Redfield will not cross a do not enter sign. If the floor is wet, he will not walk on it. And it's just like, oh my god. And we get fucking bombed. They blow up the building because we don't get out of it fast enough, and it's just like, I'm losing my mind. I don't know if I can work this into a Delta Green game. I might be able to work some of it. Honestly, you already did the more fun version of the Leon chapter when I sent you under a spooky mansion. Remember, that had caverns deeper than mankind can know under it.
Yeah, it also had a fucking red phone to God.
Yeah, no, the hand to God. There were wraiths. There was, that was heavily influenced also by Plague Tale. There were ratnados.
No, but and also, actually, keep trying to tell Omega to inspiration for Delta Green. You gotta remember, Delta Green is about maintaining conspiracy so that the world does not know. This seems to be the opposite thing in Resident Evil, where things only get worse.
But also in, like, a weird way, because, like, the whole plot of, like, Leon was, like, the president's gonna tell everybody at Raccoon City, but also, like, they're just super soldiers now. They're just out there, in China. And this is before we drop a second bioweapon on them with the C-Virus. because that's Leon's campaign. It's like, is there OPSEC or isn't there OPSEC? Like, 7 really narrows the scale again, and it's like, it kind of seems like we're keeping this on the DL. 8, sorry, I'm counting wrong. 9, at least, will be interesting because at least some of it is going to happen inside of the ruins of Raccoon City, which I'm pretty sure, like, yeah, people wouldn't go there. They nuked that. So, like, there's something, but still, yeah, like, it just feels like 6 reached such a crescendo of, like, we're throwing every single thing at the wall to see what sticks. And, like, to be fair, it did not burn Capcom right away. I think I may have mentioned this last stream, but I did some research and read the numbers. Like, RE6 only sold a little bit less, like a percentage less of copies than RE5 did. It did not sell as many as 5. So, like, there was not growth, but it was about the same number of sales. I think it was like 7.3 million for 5 and 7.1 million for 6, right? It's pretty good. But it was enough of an off-putter that Capcom went, oh, if we do this forever, this is it. Like, this is a thing, I think, with lots of intellectual property where it's not the first bad thing that kills you. It's not like the first bad album, the first bad movie, the first bad video game. It's the one after the bad one where people see the writing on the wall and they go, oh yeah, I'm not buying this again. So, like, Capcom caught it, but it felt like 6 was, like, the crest of that hill of just, like, fuck it, everything's a roller coaster, everything's a movie. We don't need logic and reason, we just need 5 more action set pieces. Yeah, it's so 2012. Like, right down to the fact that, like, we've had smartphones for years in 2012, but they're like, no, smartphones aren't cool enough.
Oh, by the way, I did see a bit of the cutscene in the next area, and the flashlights are basically projectors that basically, project information onto the ground. That's why we have those. That's why we have those. They're very neat.
No, like I said, there's interesting ideas and there's, like, aesthetics, but no, the Chris campaign is so weird already, and it's so weird because we played through Leon, so I know that there's going to be so we're going to run into Ada Wong somewhere, and we're going to chase her ass down, and then after that, we're going to be in a jet plane? And Leon's going to ask us to go to an underwater oil field to rescue Sherry and Jake. I almost wanted to call him Jerry.
Sherry and Jerry.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like, no, that's not right. Sherry and Jake. Like, so we're going to have to rescue them from an underwater oil field, and at some point, the bad Ada dies. Because we called Leon about that. Like, the campaign by campaign split is so weird because I feel like I've gotten like late stage spoilers for the Chris campaign already, but I don't know how we're gonna get there.
I think personally that's okay when you know something has happened because sometimes the journey is just as important as the destination. The problem is this journey's already kind of fucked.
Yeah, it's just it starts so far away from that, like, I think what they're going for is they're like, oh, we're going to keep you guessing. How are you going to meet up with Leon later? And it's like, it's not really that hard. It's just, we got to run into the fake Ada somewhere, the goop clone Ada.
She's apparently going to kill all his men. Again, Chris seems surprisingly okay, aside from the fact that he's mad.
Yeah. Like, he's not even so mad that he'll fight Leon S. Kennedy about it, because obviously, Leon's too cool. You can't fight him.
They're bros.
Chris stares at Leon Kennedy's big, beautiful eyes, and he's just like, damn it, I can't shoot him. His biceps are too cool. I need to eat more raw eggs. And then, like I don't know, like, how much of a spoiler it is, because Chris is, like, a late-game cameo character in 7, but, like, he's still going to be hunting BOWs later, no matter how this game turns out. He's going to stay on the job, I guess.
Well, I mean, Leon's in his 50s, and he's still doing stuff.
True. But yeah, I mean, we'll be there with the ride, chat. You'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see all of it. Check it out.
I am committed to getting this game done, as no matter how much sand damage I take.
Listen, it's doable.
I'm gonna finish this fight.
If we can hold it in, it's not that long. Like I said, I've as a lead up to RE9, I've seen some other streamers like playing it through in co-op and posting it, and it's like that like I think each campaign is only like 5 or 6 hours. So like that's only like 20-ish hours tops. It's very doable. We just have to keep it together.
We gotta keep it together, man.
So we'll keep on doing that. We're over 3 hours though. We can talk a little bit about Rain.
Oh, true.
I posted it already. We did do Rain.
Yeah,
we're back.
We're
we had
back.
the tournament.
What's happening? It's over, or is it?
We completed the tournament. Probably. I mean, there's some follow-up stuff, and we'll get some interesting things going on. But I think we had fun. Everybody making it to finals, and I didn't really think of such a simple system of just like, yeah, it's it should be a maximum of 5 rounds, so technically there should be a time limit, and it's, first to 3 wins is, kind of what we talked about vaguely in the before time, but like, that got pretty tense to the rolls.
There was some insane rollage.
Yeah, there were also some crazy, like, for both players and NPCs, there were some crazy pools. Like, One Roll Engine's a very funny system because, obviously, if you're rolling about 10 dice, you're probably going to make a match. If you're rolling 10 dice, honestly, you're probably making a couple matches. It's like a, 10% chance every time. So you'll make a couple matches. Sometimes you make some crazy sets, though. But you can't, with the way this game is, you only get one special die. You can't count on the crazy matches. So, like, one set, one round, it'll be like both parties roll like 5 5s, 4 4s. The next round, I got like 2 10s and 2 3s. I can't use the 2 10s though because we're not doing, hitting the head is against the rules of this tournament.
I also that made it interesting too. That they had to basically do like chest and arms only.
Yeah, like we always discussed, or at least I discussed out loud every time I rolled a set as an NPC, being like, would the NPC take a cheap shot? Like, will they take a yellow card to, like, hit you in the face and spoil your sets? And I was like, no, not really. This feels like a genuine sporting competition, right? Like, we didn't really play into vicious rivalry. But, like, it was a discussion. But yeah, no, like, I think making legally allowed strike zones and not really focusing too hard on, like, the damage dealt to be like, we're gonna sort this out. And there was some very interesting tactical decisions made a couple of times. I think we had some cool stuff going on.
Oh yeah, it was very interesting.
We had some real fun. And then so next time should be, the rolling pseudo combat took a decent amount of time, so we didn't get through every little thing. So we have some follow-up scenes, planned on. Not necessarily about the tournament, but we had plans for that day to carry out.
Yeah.
So we will be doing some follow-up talking, and then moving on through because there are a series of relaxing events planned for the last week.
Relaxing, you say? I hope they're relaxing.
Well, yeah, that's what when you were planning this literally months ago, both in game and out of game. That's what you wanted. You were like, let's make the put all our fun relaxing times. Maybe get a little hunting in. Have like an outdoor luncheon. Finally take our sauna, our hot springs trip.
Hot Springs episode.
Cap it off with a big old feast where I'll make everybody hungry. Yeah, X and I did have a conversation that was lengthy in DM, so I can no longer say that I now have like a DM triumvirate of people, but I had to get him his groove back a little, but we are in. Grooving did happen, which I'm glad. Groove is important.
Well, I wasn't part of the conversation, so I can't say anything.
So, sure. I hope some of it comes back. I had him write down. I don't know how off the cuff they were, but they seemed off the cuff. He hit me with a couple of zingers and just casual back and forth conversation, and I'm like, okay, all right, remember some of those. I'm doing my fucking laundry, and I look back over at the screen, and I'm just like, oh, I have to sit down now. Hold on, I'm laughing too hard. This is the thing you've talked about in this session. Like, not always, but Axe can belt some out and really get us. So I hope some of those lines come back because they were good. But yeah, so we're on the track for Rain. It's a good time. Like I said, it's posted already. I posted it in the evening. It's called Tournament Arc. You can check it out.
Yeah.
Anything else Rain related? I think we're just kind of vibing. We're having a good time.
We're kind of vibing. Like I said, we're trying to move forward with stuff. As you know, so I'm having a few conversations. I might try to set up some. Oh, what's the word I want to use? I don't want to say stress. Not necessarily complications, but
I mean, we can always go back to our old school favorite word, the dramatique.
Yes. I think I'm going to try and set up some drama as the word. I was actually pursuing a line of inquiry early about Nicola's character that may or may not come up.
Yeah, Dallas has not. We've pinged her several times. Dallas has not gotten back to us during the week. You may have to just shoot him a DM and see. I don't know if he's been like super busy.
I might just
Usually, if we ping in the week, he gets back to us. But sometimes he is more busy. Hopefully, he's not sick again. He works with germ factories, unfortunately. Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll see if we can get some more out of him. But yes, there's some stuff you're brewing up which could be dramatic. And if nothing else, I think it's like you asking these questions is important because like I had to be like, what is going on? Well, I know from a fact that like from like correspondence, Nicola has not been broadly discussing this topic with anybody. Like he's not going out of his way to send out letters about it. But I don't know if he's told anyone that he's keeping it close to the vest. Like that this is kind of the conversation we have back and forth about how much the other players know about certain things and how they get involved.
Yeah.
This was one of the things I did talk about Axe with, of just like, if you feel the need in the moment to like ask the other players or characters what their opinions are before you want to make a house wet decision, I should say. Fuck it, poll them. Like be like, hey guys, I'm in a different conversation in character right now, but how do your characters feel about this? Like, could I poll you? And like, sometimes obviously there's going to be like time sensitive shit. Like, I would not talk about this unless directly confronted on it. But usually we're pretty open. But we need to set up those moments of asking, and that's like what you're trying to do with Dallas. Is like, hey, what is Nicola sharing about this sort of thing, right?
Well, yeah, it's like one of the things. Like, I'm not necessarily against speaking about character interactions and thoughts and stuff, but I'm always of the opinion that it is better to ask about such things in character, so that you may learn of such things in character and react to such things in character. Because I do feel that people have a habit that once you have out of character information, well, suddenly your character has out of character information, and it's just a matter of whether or not consciously or subconsciously act upon it.
Yeah, that's the kind of like metagaming problem.
Yeah,
like I said, I was mostly with the thing about like Axe was like, to clarify this for him, I'm sure listening, and for other people, was like, you're the Marquis, the other characters are supposed to be your advisors. If you have a beat, you could absolutely pull them in character about stuff. Now, like I said, if everybody will be forthcoming about their opinions about every little thing, don't know. But the opportunity should come across that unless you're super time crunched, you would be able to either know you're going to have this conversation, like know you're about to take a meeting, and have like asked earlier, hey guys, I'm thinking of taking a meeting with Lord So-and-so. I'm going to talk about this. Before I do that, what are our feelings about that? You can preset up. So if it's not time crunched, you can do it. And I don't mind being a little loosey-gooseier with the time parts to bounce back and forth, because we do not want to be like pre-micromanaging every interaction, right?
No.
So like
I
and
said,
that's kind of like what you're
lot
talking about with Nicola, where you're like, I want to know what Nicola has been saying in character about these things, because out of character, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's even like I said, as the GM is like, well, I can be reasonably certain that I can double check his correspondence as the GM and be like, there are some things he has not been broadly bringing up to every NPC he's, yapping with. Mm-hmm. But I cannot recall specifically, like, what in-character conversations you guys have been having, right? I'm just referring to my notes back about, like, what letters Nicola has sent out, what letters have been sent to Nicola, and what they're discussing. So it's like, there's definitely room to get the information. So I think I get the idea of where your idea for some more dramatic circumstances are from that.
Well, I don't mind necessarily talking about this, but because like I said, this is just like for a bit of drama, for a bit of spice in the session. But Enos is going to be visiting Paz Oro fairly recent here, because he wants to go see Noctiluca and wants to check in on Paz for things that happened. And as something that's been happening is that Nicola has been corresponding with Paz about pyromancy, the secret art that that we discovered from Sandra Diga's journals, which, was kind of, I would say, a collective effort. Like I said, Enos was the one who translated them and passed them to Nicola.
Yep. Obviously, Nicola, like, learned the actual pyromancy part because it's based on alchemy, which is his sorcery. But yeah, yes. you worked on the translations.
Mm-hmm. But so when this happened, when Dallas said he was doing this, was talking to Paz on it, I really didn't think about it. What made me go, wait a fucking minute, is when, I don't remember who it was, I think it was Dallas says, yeah, why is there a bunch of flaming golems in Celticy? It's like, oh yeah, they're Paz. I'm just like, wait a minute. Why are we giving all this magical knowledge to someone else for free, no less?
Yeah, I think that one that line in passing was a joke, because I'm actually pretty sure he has not specifically brought up the Bonfire Colossus trick, but it probably is in but the vlog. And no, you are definitely thinking about correctly to be like, hey, is it out there to get there?
Yeah,
should this information be flowing freely?
It should be flowing freely, and secondly, being flowing freely without cost. It's so it's one of those things. It's just because it was one of those things that I was thinking about, what would I talk to Paz about? It's just well, probably Yeah, like I said, it was a collective effort. I did the translation. He's doing the work, and Leslog wanted to visit the temple.
Yeah,
because he wanted to find that Pernaxia connection. It was good times.
Like I said, I think it was one of your very strong group efforts where everybody was like, "Yeah, we'll check this out." And like, "Oh, okay, we got stuff here."
So it's just one of those
Even
things
some of the
of
lore
like
you uncovered, like Comrade and Logish are interested in.
Yeah, I was able to frickin' put together a starting family tree. Ooh, excuse me.
There was a family tree. Also, I think it wasn't the literal first use of the word lictor, but that was one of the first descriptions of it, where that like Comrades really zeroed in on that.
Oh yeah,
the lictors and the alleged ability of the Imperials to cancel sorcery.
Yeah.
Do the sorcery that stops other sorceries.
But so this is one of those things where I'm like I was talking to Axe when I had a semi crash it on him the other day. It's like this is one of those things that I've been thinking about. Okay, if this comes up in conversation, how would Enos, feel about such things? It's like, well, Enos is an Iron Demon. He values secrets, and he's also part of the Circle of Greed, so he values fair trade. You do not just give, secret knowledge for nothing. So he would probably be very upset about that. And what would Enos do about that? Well, he would either, turn this around on Nicola in some way, or would, take his frustrations out on Nicola. Which, unfortunately, I do not necessarily think that taking my frustrations out on Nicola will actually do anything. Dallas would just be like, oh, okay, and move on with life. So
Nicola's martyrdom complex, so he would take it.
Yeah. So I got to think of something else. But
not
it's one of those
not
things
a character beat, but it's one of those things that won't inform anything.
No. So this is one of those things of like, all right, how much has Nicola actually done, so we can get these facts straight before we devolve into an argument, on camera, on who did what. And I wanted specifically to get it hammered out before the recording, because this is something that I know Dallas will do. It will be like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that, Dallas. And he'll be like, oh, I didn't do that then. I'm like, you just can't take it back. So,
yeah, I think there's, obviously, there's a certain amount of back.
It said a semi-crash out, Axe. Please use the proper words that I'm using and not interpret them for your convenience.
Would be for his inconvenience.
Or his inconvenience.
No, that's not a thing. But, yeah, no. Dallas is kind of Dallas does think about games. He sent me, he has written letters and given them to me to analyze and and to have NPCs respond. So, he does get involved in some stuff. It's just, like I said, he is busy, and, there are times when our contactus does not go through.
Yes. So, but I want to make sure that the
run it down for something else.
Yeah, there are facts that I want to make sure is straight, and I want to make sure that we can't suddenly do, take backsies, in game, because, like I said, I like consequences, both good and bad. I like seeing the results of my actions play out, and sometimes the way that I plan them to, and sometimes in the way I don't plan them to. But if people can just go, oh, I don't know, I didn't do that in game, and Omega being all like, well, I can't remember either, so I guess that's how it works, it grinds my gears a little bit.
Yeah, if I don't have something noted down and you guys don't recall or don't want to follow through, it's like, well, I can't force you down a line that I didn't have jotted down. Yeah,
so again, it's one of those things. I want to try and have this hammered down so that if I try to take, Nicola to task over this, Dallas just doesn't try to say oh, I wouldn't have then.
Yeah, that at least I think with Paz anyway, with this stuff, I don't think he would take it back, because that's I don't know if I would say committed he's committed to is the right word, but it's something that has been recurring back and forth for a while.
Yeah. But no, not that, but the fact that he told no, I don't know if he's told anyone he's been corresponding about this Taz, or if he's or if he's been talking to anyone else about pyromancy, because I do know he wants to be tight with the Lady Magister and the Royal Physician, but I don't know if he's actually said anything about them
as mentors. I don't think he's actually written to them lately. Not that you guys are reading everybody's outgoing mail, but
no, that
was a whole separate side conversation we had about correspondence lines between other characters. Aurelia and Paz have exchanged a few letters, and I'm Aurelia doesn't put any shit in a letter that she wouldn't want somebody other than the recipient to read.
She hangs out with Enos.
Because she hangs out with Enos, and also you guys might have a criminal conspiracy on your ass, which is a whole thing in a region where a letter might have to travel to. You know, the letter doesn't magically teleport to Keltacy from Norlon. It has to travel by boat and stop in ports.
Can we contract the ferries to carry our mail?
I mean, you might be able to do it, but then you'd have to put up with some Feol type shenanigans. I have received your letter, but unfortunately you did not give me the proper amount of sugar cookies. Therefore, I have misplaced it until you pay your rent.
Well, like I said, like, Dallas/Nicola has a lot of bad ideas, but I think sometimes it's better to have bad ideas than no ideas. Especially if the bad idea can be funny. Which, I think
I'm pretty sure I'm going to say what you're going to say, which is like, yeah, that's not a problem that Dallas has, having no ideas. Like, he is willing to commit to bad ideas. It's more that Dallas doesn't want to commit to ideas that would, like, be group-breakingly bad.
Yeah.
Like, Nicola's been talked down from some plans in and out of character because he's, like, dreamed up some stuff that's crazy talk. Like, I think in character you guys talked him out of cloning him, splitting himself, because it was like, Nicola, that's fucking crazy.
That's heresy. That's crazy heresy.
It's bad for you. You will not have a good time. And that's even before we have to kill you for being a heretic. And Nicola was like, yes, that does sound bad.
Like, we didn't stop him from making, like, did he make the bear scarn? I'm pretty sure he made the bear scarn.
It's not a literal bear scarn, but he did Tarquin a bear.
Tarquin a bear, excuse me.
He made a magical alchemical clone of a bear.
And I'm all like, that seems weird, but you know what? There's, like, no reason to say, like, actually no. Well, not no very loudly, anyway. Also, I get my kicks just by putting straw Nicola everywhere.
Yes, Nicola's a tendency to put his foot in mouth and other shenanigans has led to the literal Nicola strawman. Which Lesla could use as a voodoo doll if he felt like it, but...
No, I'm very excited about Rain.
No, this one should not that the last session wasn't exciting, but
thank you, Aaron.
It was a very specific type of tension. This next upcoming session will be much more about the character beats.
Oh man, those rolls were fucking crazy, and the wins were crazy. No, I did almost nothing last session. Like, I wasn't involved in the tournament. I think I had, like, one conversation with somebody. I had a conversation with Conrad. I remember that.
Yeah,
there was anything else?
You had some scenes with some PCs. I think you had some other follow-up stuff.
Oh, no, I did have a good after-tournament scene, I'll say. Which was me just looking at the crowd, and I'm looking at the crowd's looking at them. I see a couple people looking at a Pete, and people are thinking things. That was a pretty good scene, but it was very small.
Yeah. No, we had a couple of bookends. I think you had some stuff at the beginning and you had some stuff in the end, but when we were actually doing the rolly bop parts, that was like, no, I'm not involved in rolling, so I'm just going to sit here and kind of, like, nail bite.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man, no. Like, very specifically, fucking, Loft's fight and Aaron's fight, super fucking good. They get super fucking tense. Super fucking tense. They're great.
Logesh had a hell of a set.
It was so good. Like, no, I don't want to describe it because I don't want anything to happen, but fucking anime-ass shit happened that fight.
Trust it. You can, it's up now. I've posted the audio on Patreon, and the video is out by the time this is hitting you live. Like, it is a thing. You did kind of, like, weirdly backhand cheer it, but it was like, okay, that is kind of a weird backhand cheer, but also, that feels correct.
Also, Axe, I'll appreciate you owned it. You just owned it. You just went, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you were just like, fuck it.
Yeah, no.
Not literally that, but you were just like, you were able to admit, I flubbed it, who cares?
No.
That's not exactly what I had in mind, but it was like, no, we're all laughing, it works.
But no, like, I do think, like, coming up into the next week, Enos will have more scenes, and maybe we'll see more of Enos' darker side. Maybe. I don't know if it'll come up or not. I do appreciate that.
Some things.
Yeah. I did appreciate that I did set something up. Someone did see it, but they just kind of filed it away for later. I personally appreciated that. It was one of those things.
It was kind of funny because I obviously in retrospect, because we talked about it out of character, speaking about out of character conversations, I knew instantly what my lock-on point was of, like, you know, hey, what's everybody doing in the morning? And then being like, okay, so this guy's not going to do this guy's going to, those guys go off to do a different thing. And then, it's Nico, and I'm like, okay, all right. And he's like, hey, can I fucking Sherlock this shit? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And then he's decent at scrutinize, but I think it was like 3 6s, and I'm like, okay, all right, here's what you got. And he's like, interesting. I have ideas. Out of character, I think I can feel like what's going on, but Nicola wouldn't do anything about that right away. We'll hold on to this one.
Yeah, no. And personally, that's kind of what I wanted. So, no, I'm appreciative of it. Like, even though I didn't do a lot last session, I still felt like Enos got to be Enos appropriately. And I think we're going to get
that was
more
a good thing
Enos.
about it because, like, I think both you and Axe were in the back seat because of the heavy focus on the tournament, but it sounds like neither of you felt, like, really bad about it. Like, even if you were in the background of the ensemble, you were still on screen, you still had moments, and you got to engage when you needed to engage, but didn't have to be the focus. You let the focus pass to the other players, and then hopefully we can keep that kind of good, because there will be other times when Enos or Leslock or whoever rotates to the front and the other people rotate to the back, but people still feel like engaged.
Yeah. No, so no.
Last session, like, honestly, like, in character, I think you guys correctly talked Comrade out of the Wargman stuff. Out of character, I think even though that was a solo scene with Conrad, everybody was on the edge of their seats during the Wargman episodes. Yeah. Like, that's kind of that back and forth, and we get to have very, very fun times with stuff. And yes, like I said, I also like that moment of, like, you're looking around, I'm trying to look around for, like, this, and like, okay, anybody in specific? And you're like, oh yeah, let's look at Marcus Espada. How does he feel about this? And we talked about, like, the Spider-Man meme of him, like, you're looking around as, like, anybody scheming? Anything going on? You looks at him, and you realize you look at him, and he's walking around. He's looking around like, shit, is somebody scheming here? Is there some kind of scheme going on? Is this a thing?
Oh, no, it was so good. I loved it. No, like, our relationship with the Espada, I think, is going to be interesting going forward. I wouldn't say we're definitely hostile or even at odds yet, but there is
I don't even know if it's, like, fraught, but it's definitely, like, it's chaotic, and we're finally, I shouldn't say finally, but, like, we are getting that proper rivalry dynamic I think I wanted with them as, like, the same rank as you. So, like, you can't really defer on principle, I mean, obviously Marcos Espada has more personal achievements than Leslock because he's, almost 50 years old, and Leslock is going to be 20 in a couple of months. So, life experience differences, but on paper, equivalent ranks in the peerage. So once you get outside of, his authority on the King's Council, like, there's only so much authority he can exercise, and I've been having a lot of fun thinking about the cultural differences and some more stuff, even if you're not necessarily going to Tempest in winter, like, peppering in some more of those ideas, because the idea of, like, how do I want to say this? Like, I don't think I wanted any of the houses, the way we talked about this in, like, Session 0 and stuff, as, like, I didn't want any of the houses to be, like, the evil bad guy house. There's no Slytherin, right? Mm-hmm. There's no group you look at and go, oh, well, these guys are obviously evil. Like, even, like, your early missteps with Ferretti, that felt much less like, oh, those guys are bad. That's more just like, hey, is Count Ferretti kind of a doofus? Is he scheming us, or is he just as much of a stuffed shirt as he appears? Like, what's the haps,
What's happening?
Yeah. So, like, that's kind of the same vibe, where, like, and obviously you guys had your complex relationship with Marin that was kind of suggested and, like, kind of explained, but that went a different way. And even then, that's still, like, there's still going to be back and forth there, because, like I said, I think sometimes the Baroness Marin is definitely, like, or, actually, was it Baroness or Countess? I don't remember. One of those.
I feel like it's Baroness, but
yeah. Lady Marin is still going to be like, I don't get these kids. Am I getting too old for this shit? It is Baroness, okay. Baroness sounded right. It's A Conferetia counties.
God, it's just, I remember the moment I was like, no, like, I remember, like, earlier in the game, like, well, I won't say, like, in the midpoint of the game, like, everyone had done the work to kind of, placate the relationship with Baroness Marin, and I was all like, you went, no, I want fucking drama. What is happening here? And then I actually figure out some drama. I was like, oh no, I don't want this at all. We gotta fix this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you say about the consequences, right? You're like,
yeah,
no, we can't just smooth over the drama. I want to play in it, and then you're like, oh wait, shit. I have my character has feelings about this now. Fuck.
Yes.
And it's kind of the thing with Espada is, like, that one's definitely, like, everybody feels like they want to play in the drama a little. Maybe not Nicola in character, because Nicola is, I don't want to say Nicola is violence averse. Nicola is, like, harm averse. He's not afraid to show off his knife throwing skills, or, like, wrestle, or, like, even fight with lethal intent Monstrum. I don't think he wants to hurt people, and he doesn't want to see people get hurt. Typical doctor shit. But, like, it's certainly a thing where, like, you guys are ready to have that little interplay, and like there was a lot of building with the incident and stuff like that to kind of set up the stakes for Lord Espada. Like, I don't want Lord Espada to seem like a bad guy. He should be an important guy. He's a tough guy. He's not afraid to use, like, violence to get his way, in a sense. He is, a duelist, a soldier, Like, he's had to fight for stuff before. But, like, he's not, like, a malicious guy. It's just that he's from a culture that's out there and values different things. And like I said, that's something I do want to unpack a little more, because it could seem easy for all the characters to just be like, those Espadas, they're crazy. And it's like, they have their pluses and their minuses. They are a culture that is willing to draw steel often, but that's usually because they're very passionate. They're very true to their emotions. Like, there is a lot less of the courtly facade with Espada. But also because there's a lot less of the courtly the facade, that means that people have their real feelings out there, and sometimes they're like, you really feel that way? Fuck you, buddy. Swords at dawn. Kind of a thing. And, like, we've avoided, I think, a lot of pitfalls with, like, Akunar and House Oro as, like, the money house, We'll, I think, even see a little bit of that when you talk to Paz and Ramil about some stuff, too. Mm-hmm. To kind of, like...
Yes.
Cause,
I will finally get the Ramil conversation.
Yeah. Because, like, unpacking Baron Oro's relationship with the Desert Kith is also, like, an important... The original Baron Oro, I should say. Like, unpacking Oro the Strategist's relationship with the Desert Kith is, like, that's an important step in their backstory that kind of sets up important steps in Oro's backstory. So, like, Oro the Strategist was, like, very, very rich, but he's not called Oro the Rich, He was a thinky man, a thinky boy. So, like, there are multifaceted relationships to House Oro that's not just the Merchant Lords. Mm-hmm. Though also... that is going to be a thing that, we'll see when you guys go to their capital, Marquette, to actually be like, yeah, they also actually, like much like Lord Espada is almost beholden to his bannermen as swordsmen, as, like, if they don't feel like he's the strongest, toughest guy to fight for, they'll go fight for somebody else, kind of a thing, right? Mm-hmm. Oro and Akunar is beholden to, like, well, the coin is... where's the coin flowing from? Is there no coin in this operation? Well, we don't want to do it. Like, that was a big conversation Baron Oro had when you guys breached the Fogvale subject. He was like, okay, guys, we're worried about, like, exploitation. I get that. That's a terrible money prospect. Like, my people love trade. Trade will flow. But until there's some cash to be made, it's gonna flow slow, And, like, honestly, even the fallen houses I want to be like, I think they're gonna have their costs and benefits, as you guys probably will have to unpack their histories a little to figure out what's going on with there today, Like... House Venin and the Witch Lords and stuff seem really spooky, but, like, they were, deep-seated allies of the High King for, like, 500 years. The first Lady Venin, Beatrix du Venin, was the first, royal physician. I think I even said in what was it, Codex Gridival, that, like, Gridival talked about, like, oh yeah, no, the Lady Venin was, like, what should we call it, like, colleagues, I guess, with like, Solia Goldenhair and stuff like that, You can't go back. It's too late. Arguing about the desserts. It's our new thing.
It's just that thing. Axe was talking about Forbidden Desert the other day, and he typed the Forbidden Desserts. And I'm just all like, Forbidden Desserts! I don't mean to actually, like, make fun of them, but it's just funny.
It's one of those funny. It's one of those, like, micro things where, like, you do it once and it's like, oh, that's a little funny. It happens again, you're like, it's comedy now. We're doing a thing. And then, like, we'll keep doing it. It's like the thing with, like, knock on wood, where we were like, we were talking about, like typing exclamation point roll instead of exclamation point poly.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And, like, that was a thing where it was like, oh, some person has to do it. Honestly, I think we've gone a couple of sessions without it happening, like, more than once, period. But it's definitely, like, so the joke, like, naturally simmered down. But for a while, it was like, we're all waiting for it. Who's going to do it? How's it going to happen? But, yeah, no, like I said, we do a lot of broad thinking on the setting, so, like, there's a lot to be had out there. I think, like, mostly what I'm going to do with, like, your trip to Ache, for instance, to Crag, is, like, that's going to be mostly an excuse for you guys to poke around and kind of get a lay of the land and see what Crag is like. Like, I could tell you because you would know, but it feels much better to experience it in character and to get kind of, like, the moment of, like, all right, well, you guys are going to Crag to poke around. You're going to talk to some guys. You're going to kind of see what their deal is.
Yeah, I'm not expecting the Crag visit to take, like, over long. Like I said, it's mostly just going to be, Omega's going to, give us sightseeing points. We maybe do a little diplomancy and maybe have a fight or two. and call it good. So I'm hoping for only maybe a few sessions. I'm hoping.
It should probably be like 1 or 2. The 2 part will really depend if you guys decide to get out there and fight some things. Like that's combat. No matter what the system is, takes some time. No. But it's definitely
like I said. Moments. This is completely dependent on if Enos considers someone an enemy.
Yeah. Like if we need to get in there.
Yeah. Or if Enos considers someone an enemy and everyone else talks him down from it. And then if Enos decides that he's going to go kill them anyway, despite what everyone says. There's levels to this, guys.
To be my enemy. There's character stuff going on, but yeah, it'll be good to like, because that's the thing, right? Like, I don't think we've ever doubted that House A are your close allies. When I was sorting out stats, I was like entangling alliance and stuff like that. Like you are very close. It could have been more like sinister, but it was still pretty free form, and generally you guys were like, nah, it's probably pretty positive.
Yeah.
Like again, to talk about kind of like character motivations, like I've explained this a little through like the journals of Leofric Logi and stuff. Like the current Lady A, like she went out of her way to bury the hatchet with the bad blood between your houses with Big Dad Leofric and Logish's dad Wolfric. Like they were previously in a generational climb to get over it, because their previous generation were at odds. So, like, she doesn't really want to return to that way because she feels like she's put a lot of work into repairing relations with your house.
Yeah.
So, like, that's one of the reasons
pretty short up. Yeah. Like I said. What happens? We'll see. Like I said. But, it's one of those things I always thought about. We're allies, we need to act like allies. So, we gotta
that's
go
always
visit.
Pretty good to focus on those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rain's super fun, and we'll hopefully get a little more of that out there. I mean, we could probably get to wrapping it up. We're at about 3:40, yes.
Yeah. Axe didn't mention it, but we did have a board game night Thursday. You guys played some games. You played Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert. You got any thoughts on those?
They're all right. I would definitely... we lost Forbidden Desert, so I'd definitely like to try it again, maybe switch up the group a little. It was interesting, because, like, Forbidden Island... Almost forgot how to say island for a second. That game was like, I mean, we started at the lowest difficulty because several of us hadn't played, which is what you're supposed to do. But it definitely felt like a game that was very easy to optimize. Like we were, like the game had a chance to snowball and it looked pretty scary early. But once we got a handle on it, it was very clear like what the optimal option was. And that might have been because we picked roles. Like if they'd been randomized, it could have been a little more flexible. That's probably why you're supposed to randomize them. But it was our first time. Doing Desert was like, that was trickier. That one was like, I think for a fact think that I started that a little too casually with like my character power and stuff, and it's like, oh no, this Desert has hands. So like it was pretty interesting. I'd like to give him a second crack. I don't really have like a full review or anything to give. We just had a board game night. I was a little tired, but I kind of snapped back into it a little more as we did play some games. Talked about some stuff. We dug some stuff. The sun killed Axe. I'm like, honestly, I should have done more to give him a hand with that, but the way I was moving was like I was betting on that not happening, and if I'd done my last turn differently, the sun would have also killed me at that rate. It was bad. The sun is a deadly laser. But yeah, we had a little fun. We like board games.
We like board games.
We sat down and did some. As evidenced by the fact that I had to, like, Steam had to catch up on updating all my workshop installations. Yeah, that one was automated, so kind of shuffled them up. But we can probably wind down. It is after, I was going to say it's after midnight. It's after 1 a.m. here, actually.
Oh, jeez. Might be time.
So, like I said, we've gone for a while. Like I said, we're like 3:45-ish, so, that was longer than we thought. But we did that thing where we waxed whimsical about Rain, not in any specific way, but in a general way. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of brain thinking about Rain that happens, so there's many thoughts which can be had. But we will wind the show in because we're gonna probably have a big old one for you next week. Like I said, there should be the announcement of JP's White Day. We'll do Ordeal Call 2 pregame. We fan serve at Friday time and various other things going on. And also, we'll have done another episode of Rain. Mm-hmm. And we'll have played RE6. We'll played more RE6 too. So like we might be slightly more crazy.
Slightly, yes.
0/1d4 San. Actually, no, I think it's usually 1/1d4. It's like 0/1 or 0/1d3. Anyway, sanity. But let's wind the show in and make sure to keep your eyes and ears peeled for more stuff. Like I said, I did do a little off-schedule stream of Marathon if you want to see some live gameplay from there. And I did get to use their funny little press kit transitions, which are pretty neato, like BRB stream starting, stuff like that. So check that out. We'll be back next week for more Let's Talk FGO. For all that stuff we're going to say, sure to check us out on Monday, where we're going to do more RE6. Tuesday, the Fail Portrayal slot, the Yugi Boys, whatever's happening exactly. That should be like our next poll winner, but depending on if I can get a hold of Dallas, I know he wanted to be, if what I think wins is going to win, he said he wanted to be here for that, so we might move the schedule around. And then Wednesday, more Final Fantasy XIV. We should have our new 0.5 patch, so it should be Hildebrand and stuff next time. Maybe check out the new variant dungeon. I believe that should be live next Tuesday. Check out Little Ladies Day, actually. I have not, so far I have not logged in and gotten my 14 Oshi t-shirts. Which I talked about this on Wednesday, but I think that's super funny and cool that that's the direction they're going. Very fun time. But that's what content we got coming up. Plus, as I said, sometime there'll be some wanteds for some new servants. So check out those videos. If you're watching this video, be sure to like us. Leave your comments down below. Subscribe to us. I think I usually also say you can join our Discord after comments, but you can join Discord. If you want, you can subscribe. No, I already said subscribe. Not that. Join memberships. Sorry, it's because I watch VODs for Twitch streamers, and like, of course, the two competing platforms have different numbers. You can subscribe to just get our channels and your videos in your feed. You can ring the bell for notifications. You can choose to join the channel to support us financially, to give me your couple of bucks, and get access to membership badges and emotes, which you can use, on the channel. You can use our special Terabit emotes. You can also consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get this episode early in audio format for as little as $1 a month, or about $10 a year annually. That also includes the audio versions of our actual plays of Rain and other games, and the other audio outputs. At higher tiers, you can get access to video releases like Wanted's early, get access to the topic polls we're going to be paying off on next week, and at our higher tiers, you can listen to us record Let's Talk FGO live every week, and at our tippy toppest tier, you can get an on-air shout-out, sorry, I was distracted by reading the patron chat.
Oh, yeah.
But Adam Hart, Black Genie, Call Me Zed, Carlos Dragon, Genevieve Anthezan, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, and Charvor. Thank you very much, all of our wonderful, beautiful patrons, TM, and all of our wonderful and beautiful listeners, TM. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye now.
Bye, everybody.